following podcast is being brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network.
This week on the Defy Life Podcast, we discussed that dude in the White House refusing to apologize for his role in the Central Park 5 case, the 10-year anniversary of Michael Jackson's death. We also talked some NBA free agency and Manny Pacquiao versus Amir Khan. And, of course, we'll answer some listener questions and wrap things up with some trivia. All that and more. Let's get to the show. Yeah, that's what it is. I guess we got to do it then. You all right? Check. Pool. Out. Money. West Coast. Let's get it. Strap in, let's take a ride. Oh yeah, it's about that time, right? Been waiting all week to get to this. It's finally time to defy life. Let's chop it up. Keep it trail, no other way. That's what we do. We might disagree, but it's all love. Guarantee we gon' speak the truth. Yeah, this hit different. My guys with me, now who's with us? Stick around for a few minutes. It's contagious. You'll get it. You downloaded the realest. Don't feel us, but get out. You not rocking with Defy Life, then what's your life about? I'm saying never done nothing. Welcome back. What up, world? Welcome to the Defy Life Podcast, powered by the Defy Life Podcast Network. This episode is sponsored by Bud Bottles, home of the Bud Bottle and the Bud Freshener. Please visit budbottles.com for your odor eliminating needs. Thank you for listening. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, GoDefyLife.com, and everywhere else your favorite podcasts are available. As always, we encourage you to like, subscribe, and give us a 5-star rating whenever you listen. You can also find us on all social media platforms at Go Defy Life. This is episode 113, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, J.R. Glymph, joined as always by my wonderful co-host, West Coast Jay. And tonight we got a special returning guest, Yoshi. What's good, West Coast?
Something about the West Coast. Shh, don't tell nobody. Something about the West Coast. It makes me wanna ride.
Yeah. What up, world? That was in honor of the homie Yoshi coming back. You know, I had to get a little couple of sound effect musical bring-ins, you know. Other than that, I'm good, man. How you doing, Jay? What's up with you?
Shit, ain't nothing, man. I'm making it. Shit, man, it's always, it's always a highlight of my week. Be able to sit down and chop it up with y'all, so I'm good, man.
It's good to hear.
No doubt. Yosh, what's good with you?
Guess who's Bizak? Still smell the crack in my clothes. Guess who's Bizak? Still. Guess who's Bizak?
What's up, fuckers?
What's happening? What's happening? I am back.
What's up, fuckers?
I am back.
What's up, fuckers?
And I just want to say, for all the other shows that I can't be on, I just want to say one thing.
Fuck. What's up, fuckers?
I'm back.
Yo, we always got to get you on like at least once a month, man. Just let you purge. Get that shit out you.
You got your disclaimer, Yoshi?
Right.
Do I have my disclaimer? Oh, man. Yo, you almost... Hold on. Give me 1 second. It don't take long.
Get that shit out the way.
I feel like we might as well.
Right.
Yeah, man. It's what's the word we're looking for? Well, I'm gonna wait till I say something crazy because I ain't said nothing crazy yet.
Oh.
And the first couple of topics ain't gonna make me say nothing crazy. Nah, that list is a listener question that's gonna get me.
Oh,
So I'll play it then.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I already know.
There's a listener question that's gonna get me.
Right.
So I'll reserve the right to play my disclaimer then.
Oh shit, well, it's good to have you, man. You know, we can't keep you going for too long.
Yeah, man, I'm actually real happy to be back, man. I always feel like I'm in jail.
Right.
When I come here, I'm free. They don't let me out to the yard.
No doubt. And shout out to CL and Neek and Josh and Micah for letting us borrow you for a night. So
yeah, man. Shouts out to them, man. Matter of fact, Stealing English show. Drop an episode tomorrow. Dope show. Had Anthony Savage, brand new coach over at South Lawrence High School in Florence, South Carolina. And we also had the great Stacey Huff, one of the best broadcasters in the business here in the state of South Carolina. And that show will drop at 12 o'clock tomorrow, only on GoDefyLife.com and anywhere your podcasts are listen to. And tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, tune in to Relationship Status on Facebook or on the Defy Life Podcast Network. All you got to do is click on it, like the page, and it'll automatically show up. You will not want to miss. It's the first live from the Relationship Status crew. Right. And our topic is urban myths when it comes to relationships. So,
okay.
It's going to be dope. We're going to be interacting with the audience for the first time. And so you get a chance to ask your questions and have your comments and be a part of the show tomorrow. So it's going to be a dope show, man. Just so y'all just go to the Relationship Status page, like it. Go to the Defy Life Podcast Network page, like it. And you'll automatically get an alert once we go live at 9 p.m. Brought to you by the great people over at the Defy Life Podcast Network.
Damn right. It's a good look, man. Can't wait to hear that. It's good shit.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be fun. Now now you won't get, so for some of y'all that know Yoshi, especially you ladies out there, you'll get to see the more tame Yoshi. So
yeah, you'll get to see Yusuf.
Yeah, you get to see Yusuf. Your boy, Yusuf in the building. Like, that'll be Yusuf.
That guy.
Nice.
Yeah,
you said urban legends, urban
myths when it comes to relationships, like different things people say about relationships that are myths.
Oh, so it won't be anything mentioning black men don't cheat, because that shit is fact.
Yeah, fact. Black men don't cheat.
Right. Okay.
Black men don't cheat, and all women lie. Those are facts.
Okay. Yeah. So those
I
are
actually had an interesting conversation about that. Lady said, "Well, we don't lie." I said, "Yeah. Do you have weave in your hair right now?" She was like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, that's a lie. You're lying right now. It's not your hair.
Those are not your telling the truth right now.
You're not telling the truth right now. Do you have contacts in? Well, those are not your eyes. You're lying. So all women lie. Do you have a butt pad? Yes, you're lying.
Are those tights holding everything together?
Are those tights holding everything together? Yes. What's that old commercial? The old cat commercial. I don't know if anybody remembers this. Where they said this food has all the great stuff in it, and the cats go, lies. We don't believe a word you say. Yeah, all women lie.
Wow.
So you can debate it. You could debate it. Tune in, because we'll be taking that on as well. All women lie.
All right. Well, yeah, we definitely can't wait to hear that. So, yeah, make sure you check it out again live tomorrow night as well. When y'all hear this, it'll be tonight, 9 p.m.
Tonight, yeah.
All right.
Live tonight.
All right.
Oh, and Jay, I want to give a shout out, and any way we can get them on, y'all need to get them on. And when they are on, please, God, I'm begging you, say, Yosh, we were able to get them on our podcast.
Yeah, we definitely.
The ladies at Call Her Daddy podcast.
Right.
They're not on our network, and I don't really promote any podcast outside of ours on the network. But if you have never heard the Call Her Daddy podcast,
but they are wild enough to be mentioned.
Funniest, wildest shit you've ever heard.
Right. Yeah. So
I'm working on getting them on the show.
All right, and we'll definitely have you on when they on, because wouldn't be right if you ain't on while they on.
Because I got a crush on one of them.
Jay, if you hear 1/5 of an episode, you'll understand why we got to have Yoshi on while they on.
That makes sense. I will give them a listen first thing tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, the new episode drops. They have the episodes drop Wednesday mornings at 7. West Coast J.
That sounds perfect.
You will be hooked off the first episode. Guaranteed.
Yeah. Shout out daddies.
Shout out to the daddies.
Yeah.
Daddy gang.
Right.
Daddy gang. I give Daddy gang a fat shout out.
Damn right. But yeah, we waiting on Al should be joining us any second now. He has some daddy duty stuff to handle, so he should be here shortly.
Of course.
But yeah, and also I have for the Defy Life Spotlight, everybody be on the lookout. I am interviewing the legendary Jazzo, the originator, tomorrow. Well, again, it'll be tonight, but that episode should air next Monday. So looking forward to interviewing Jazzo. For anybody out there under 30, you probably might not know who Jazzo is, but Jazzo is a legend. He's Jay-Z's mentor, still going strong in the game. He's actually just coming off tour with Eric B. and Rakim. So excited to get the sit down with him one-on-one.
That's a dope tour.
And and kind of pick his brain. So big things on the Defy Life Podcast Network. Absolutely. And just a little bit of house cleaning. I want to give a shout out to our newest patrons, Darvin Higgins and Angela Fluker Higgins. Shout out to you, Darvin and Angela. Thanks for your support. Your name has been added to the Defy Life Wall of Fame at GoDefyLife.com. Your stuff is in the mail. T-shirts is on the way. So appreciate you for your patronage. All of our patrons, we love you. We support you. We do this for you, and we wouldn't be able to do it without you. So salute. Also, want to give a couple other shout-outs. Another thing we got going on here, we have Season 2 of the Defy Life Trivia Battleground going on right now. Episode 1 has just dropped, so if you haven't checked it out, it's a great episode. West Coast J co-hosted with me. Shout out to Regular Scott. He couldn't be there, although the Defy Life Trivia Battleground was his baby. That man actually had a real baby, so he couldn't be there. So, you get a pass, Regular Scott, because you actually brought a life into this world. I understand why you couldn't be on the show. So West Coast J stepped in, and we had a lot of fun. But yeah, again, salute to Regular Scott, his wife Lindsay, and baby Grayson. Welcome to the Defy Life family, sir. But yeah, that first episode of Season 2 was all previous guests of the Defy Life Podcast Network. So we had Brad J. Brown, Ladine Glymph, Toya C., all previous guests. And it was a fun episode. And as West Coast J put it, we had the greatest question in the history of our trivia battleground on that show.
Best question I've ever heard.
Yeah. So episode 2 is coming up. Then Al will be on that episode. Miggs will be on that episode. Lynn and Kim will be on that episode. And Ozzy Killmonger. So those 4 will be battling it out to go to the next round. So y'all definitely check that out. That'll be out in about a week or so. Also, want to give a shout out to Miggs himself, Movie Man Miggs. We don't ever give Miggs enough, actually movies with Miggs. He don't have a commercial. He don't have a podcast. But Miggs does great work on the site. If y'all looking for movie reviews, no spoilers, spoiler free as Miggs puts it. Definitely go to Defy Life, GoDefyLife.com and check out Miggs' work. We are proud to have him as part of the Defy Life family because the man goes to 20 movies a month and stays putting out reviews. So shout out to you, Miggs. And go check out his shirts on Defy Life gear and the podcast gear. All right, that's all I got with being nice. Let's jump into these listeners. This news and entertainment.
Hey, look, hold on, Jay.
Yeah.
1 second.
Yo.
Wanted to address. I haven't been on a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But there was a topic that you covered last week. There was a couple of them, and I had a lot of notes written down, but I can't find them right now.
Okay.
I'm about 4 glasses of Henny in, so I can't find my pad.
Right.
But I do remember one of the listener questions was who was the most influential person in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just wanted to take a second to give my grandmother a shout.
Right.
She passed on in 2016, and she was the single most influential person in my life. And I would not be alive or not in jail had it not been for her. Right. So I just want to give her a shout out. She definitely has been the most influential person in my life. And I wish I could have been on to really fully give her props and go into exactly what she did for me, but she definitely was. And I think for all of us out there that have those people in our lives that are influential, that have gotten us to this positive place, right. If you have an opportunity to still have them in your life, tell them thank you. No matter whether it's negative or positive, just give them a thank you.
Absolutely.
Because you couldn't be here if it wasn't for them.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So, that's
yeah,
my
that
piece.
was,
Sorry about that.
No. Yeah, glad you chimed in because I think we all have at least that one person who we would love to take every opportunity we can to shout out when an opportunity arises. So yes, definitely feel you, man.
Yeah, I just couldn't. I was like, damn, I wish I was on. And there was some other topics y'all covered, and I disagreed with some stuff, and I agreed with stuff, and I wrote it all down. I was like, the next time I get on the show, I'm gonna go in, and I can't find that shit.
All right. Well,
So I just was like, fuck it, let me just live life and prosper.
All right. Well, hopefully none of your male athletes decide to become female and win championships in the NCAA.
Oh no, that was one.
Figured so.
No, I said because honestly, like we live in a society in which, like at my school, and according to South Carolina law now, if a parent says that their kid identifies with a particular gender, you have to call the kid by that name, allow the kid to go to that bathroom and everything.
Wow.
But the parent has to say, hey, this is what my kid is doing. This is my child's name. Like they have to have all the stuff in order. Like a kid can't come to school and say, hey, I don't want to be called this. I need to be called that. Like their parent has to sign off on everything.
Yeah.
Now, as far as playing a sport, I don't know. But I do think that NCAA and Jay, I ain't gonna front West Coast. I was very impressed because very few people, podcasting people, because I listen to a lot of podcasts, very few research information.
Right.
And I was very impressed with the numbers because, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Mm-hmm. And I was very impressed with the numbers that you posed. I think you said 50% or 25% of the people that took hormones didn't take.
Yeah. Like those numbers were starting to add up.
Yeah, so it's like okay, 25% it didn't take, 25% it was like it took but not fully, 25% it actually took fully. So 75% of the people that are taking these hormones or hormone blockers are cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, straight up.
There is no if, there's no ands, there's no buts. It's a cheat. It's a cheat code.
And they're allowed to cheat.
Yeah, and then it's allowable cheating. So, okay. So, Joanna Man decides that I'm waiting for the first time somebody decides to play basketball because that hasn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
No, give it a minute. Don't pressure it. Seems like we're headed that direction.
Well, we're headed there. We're definitely headed there.
Right.
The funny thing is you'll never see, and I don't know if we'll ever see it. I won't say you'll never see, but I don't know if we'll ever see a athlete transitioning from woman to man that competes as a man.
Yeah, they don't even allow
they're not allowed to.
Right. They don't even allow it because they know
because no matter how much testosterone they take, it's never going to be to the level of a man to physically compensate for what they need.
Right.
And I find all of it kind of crazy.
It's silly, is what it actually is.
Yeah, and I actually think they allowed it in wrestling once, and the guy who was supposed to wrestle the girl turned guy refused to wrestle her because he was like, that's a girl, like it's wrestling. When I'm going to grab up all over this, like he just didn't feel comfortable wrestling and somebody who knew was still a girl who identified as a guy. So it was just awkward. I get it.
But I mean, it's just, but Jay, like that, and I don't mean to rehash the conversation y'all had last week because I know we're beyond that and we got to get into other stuff. But to me being a coach and me being out there and really, I'm waiting for the day that, because it's coming sooner than we think. There will be a man that has transitioned to a woman who says that he's transitioned, and he may even have fully transitioned, but is not taking the hormones or whatever else it is to dominate a sport.
Just to win.
Yep.
That's the only
Just
reason
to
why.
win. Like, it's whatever. Moving on.
Right.
Like, that was one of the topics that I really wanted to be a part of the conversation. Like, it was just, I just felt like, and then Pooh's free agency foolishness. So, but whatever. We'll get into that
Call
later.
free agency foolishness.
Yeah, it wasn't realistic. Although I understood it, it wasn't realistic. And we'll get into that into the free agency.
Yeah.
But I understood the logic, but it was only from
logic.
From an illogical place.
Right. If it is just pure logic, then yes, that's one of those numbers don't lie situations.
Yeah, that's one of those numbers don't lie situations. But if you really think about it, yeah, so they're going to dump Clay. And they're going to dump, for what? For who? There is no, okay, go ahead. I'll save that for later. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'll bring Pooh up later.
Yeah, we'll talk about the NBA stuff because I actually side with Pooh on it, so we can get into that conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, we let's knock out this news.
And I'm not saying it's logical. I'm just saying we live in go ahead. I'm sorry, Jay. Go ahead.
Got you. Yeah, but first things up in the news and entertainment. I'm sure everybody saw I wouldn't even really call it an interview. A question came up in the midst of an interview. A journalist asked Donald Trump, does he, why he didn't, why he chose not to apologize to the now exonerated Central Park Five for his role in that case. And during that time, he took out, 8 separate full-page ads in the New York Times? Well, he took out full-page ads in 8 separate full-page ads in 3 separate newspapers total. And basically asking for their death, for the death penalty, and the return of our cops, basically saying why we ain't roughing these niggas up is basically what he was saying. And of course, with that, it pushed the narrative to not only through the media, but to society in general, and kind of perpetuated the thought that these boys had committed this heinous act. So I won't even go into what are your thoughts, because it's Donald Trump. We know there is no thought behind it. But what I will say is this: for the people who still support him, I'll ask this simple question. Do you think those people who still support him would want to work for him?
Yes. And I'm going to tell you, the people that support Trump are illogical anyway. I think that you see what it is you want to see. You support what you support. And those people, if you have no issue with the way the country's been run, with the way laws have changed. I saw a tweet, I think earlier, that said, Trump, your wife isn't from here. What if your children were put in a cage? If you cannot see the hypocrisy of the man, and I'm not going to sit here and bash him because enough people have done so. One of my favorite people to follow is Jamel Hill. Kills him every day. Mm-hmm. I just think that those people would find it a privilege to work for him.
Mm. Right.
And it would be an honor, and they would love it so much. Mm-hmm. A former student of mine, I won't bring up her name, she was one of the key people on Hillary Clinton's campaign. She was on she actually worked on her campaign closely with Hillary Clinton. And she told me some stuff, some inside stuff. Mm. And I was like, yo, you fucking kidding me? And I think we talked a couple weeks ago, and she was like, she said, by all accounts from the inside, it's looking like he's going to be president again. Mm. And it's not because the strength of him. Mm. It's because of the weakness of us.
Right.
And she was like, the Democratic Party and independent parties are so split on who to back. Mm-hmm. That he's going to win by default. Because whoever does not get their candidate, because I think she says it's up to like 10, 11 candidates now in the Democratic Party.
The last count was 13.
13. And she said it's going to kill the party.
23. There are 23 candidates.
I knew there was
23?
3 in there. What's
What
up,
up, Al?
Okay. My man, Al.
Yo.
I missed you, bruh.
I missed you too, Yoshi.
My New York brethren.
What's up?
Matter of fact, I fly to New York on Friday, taking my daughter for her birthday.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But she said that politically, it's going to kill the race because those people who are backing the candidate, one of the 23, they're either not going to vote, they're just not going to get out there because the person that they're backing is not going to be running, or they're not going to vote the party. And so she says she foresees, and actually people within the Democratic Party believe that Trump is going to be president next go around.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't shock me at all.
No.
And so those people you ask me about, Jay, they're blind. What's the song? You're blind, baby. Blind to the fact, like, they are blind. They are blinded by whether it's his stardom, it's his whatever it is that makes these people blind. His back alley dealings, his KKK supporting ass, his immigration killing at, like, whatever it is that he has done, these people are going to support him no matter what. So really at the end of the day, we need to come together, whoever is voting against him, and really just back whoever the fuck it is that's not him.
Right. Well, let me ask you this way: if they weren't working for Donald Trump, the president, let's say Donald Trump was hired as their manager at their regular ass job.
Nah, they wouldn't work for him.
Exactly.
They wouldn't work for him. Like, if Donald Trump was the manager of Panera Bread, they wouldn't work for anything.
Right.
Wouldn't be no bagels made that day.
Wouldn't be no bagels, no sandwiches, no what's it called? No catering. Nothing will be prepped.
Right.
I mean, because shit, if he was a manager at McDonald's, the motherfuckers would walk out because ain't nothing but Mexicans there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, like, I think that the people that back him are illogical, and as my grandma always said, you can't speak logic to illogical people.
Yeah. And I asked the question that way because typically those people don't give a shit and they'll support something as long as it doesn't affect their lives directly.
Yeah, but Jay, it don't.
That's what now it doesn't, because he's all the way in the White House. It don't matter to them, and his stances don't affect their lives. They don't get to see that shit. But if he worked as their direct manager on their regular job, they would feel the type of person he is, and they would not stand for it. Which goes to say that I say it that way because the typical Trump supporter doesn't give a shit about anybody else. And because it doesn't affect their lives. So all the stuff that's going on, all his stances, all his lying, hypocrisy, white supremacists supporting, all that stuff doesn't matter to them because it doesn't affect their everyday lives. And so with him not even answering the question of why he hasn't apologized about his role in the Central Park 5 case, goes to show that shit didn't affect him. It didn't affect his supporters. It affected 5 young, poor black men and Hispanic men who were disposable in his eyes. And that's the rhetoric that we see from his supporters. And it's sick, man. These folks are sick.
But he said during his campaign that he could shoot somebody on, like, Fifth Avenue and his supporters would still be supporters. Right. So he has a very good sense of the loyalty, the of
The
his
delusion.
35% of this country who support his ass, and just regardless of the impact on our country. So he gets it, which is only emboldens him in terms of how he behaves, because he knows there is no political ramifications of any of his behaviors, because his diehard supporters, as well as the Republicans in Congress, no one is going to hold him accountable, because at the end of the day, he is representative of their perspective, their policy, and they will take it as long as he's putting in place what they want to support. So he gets it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he definitely. Yeah. I mean, we treat him like he's an idiot, but he's very. He's really
shrewd is the word I like to use.
Yes, and he's calculating in that regard.
Yeah. Manipulative.
He's definitely no dummy.
Right.
He ain't stupid.
Yeah.
I told a joke one time, but it wasn't a joke. I honestly believe it. I think he ran for president as a joke.
Oh yeah,
I think so too.
I think so.
And then he turned around and was like, "Shit, I could win." He did some shit. Because you talk about somebody who wasn't prepared for none of this shit.
Yeah, he wasn't, and I don't think it was in that tone. I don't think it was, "Oh shit, I can win." I think it was, "Oh shit, I could win." Like he was.
Yeah, like I think that's what it is. I think it was a joke.
Yeah.
It was like, "Yo, I'm gonna run for president."
Yeah.
Okay, I got this money. Oh shit, these motherfuckers about to vote for me for real.
Yeah, now I actually got to do this shit. Yeah.
Now I actually got to do this shit. Damn. And then when he got in office, he's like, "Oh, I kind of like this shit.
All right.
I'll do it again."
Yeah, I mean that's all ego.
But hey, 45. What you say?
Yeah. Shout out to
Shouts out.
all you shots out.
Well, I will say this, and I didn't, and I don't know if y'all brought up the point last week. And Al, were you in New York at the time?
Yes.
Yes. What was crazy was what's not talked about in the video is what led to that point. Because shit had happened before that that made, like, just chilling outside on the block just crazy. And so when this happened, it was like, damn. And, like, to be in the city at this time in a place that's not supposed to be racist. I mean, you had Yusef Hawkins, you had shit like that, but it's not supposed to be a racist place because we in the North, so to speak.
Shit was different.
It was different. And Al could speak to it, like, it was just different. And I think I'm a few years younger than you, Al, so I felt it, but not to the effect of the older guys.
Right.
People who fully understood what was going on in that moment.
I mean, honestly, we could have been, as far as I'm concerned, we could have been walking around the city. If you were a young black male, they might as well just put orange jumpsuits on us.
Yo,
because of how people looked at us. It was just like, "Oh, you're a young black male, you a criminal. And we're going to treat you like a criminal just because." And it's just like, and again, so I just challenge people, when you watch this and you really think about Central 5, please try your best to put on the perspective or realize that this was 30 years ago. So you really, when you think about what life is like today, like, so much is different. Yeah. And so for a newspaper, for news, that is what kind of pushed or established, like, the mentality of the mob, the mainstream people.
Yeah, it was the mob mentality. It was legit mob mentality. Like,
so
I
remember
remember
the media talking about black males and there was no internet. There was no, other TV cable stations where you were getting other information. It was just those sole pieces of data, the news, and they were really categorizing black males as, these are the problem. They're the criminals.
I remember
Deviant.
being called a deviant. Like I don't know if you remember
Super predators.
but the Daily News and the New York
predators.
Post was and the news, I forget what the last one is, killing. I mean, they were legitimately killing black youth. And I distinctly remember my grandma saying, "Hey, whatever you do, just don't go into Manhattan. Don't go out to Sheepshead Bay. Don't, you know what I'm saying?" Like, she was just like, stay around the block. Like, you go down to Flatbush. You go to Jamaica Ave if you want to. Just don't go. Basically, don't go where white people are. Don't head down the South Shore. Like, please don't go to Coney Island. It was just that type of deal in that moment. And although people watch it, and I can speak to it, although people watch it on TV, to actually be there and live that shit, it was just a completely different environment. For it to say it was New York, some place where slaves ran to for freedom, it was just crazy.
But I think what people need to understand, though, is 30 years ago, the North, New York City, while there was claims of this racial progress,
There was none.
there really wasn't. That's my point, yo. And
there wasn't.
Someone sent to me a YouTube video of a documentary of my neighborhood, Rosedale, Queens, 40 years ago. So in 1978, this gentleman, Bill Moyers, for CBS, did a documentary on Rosedale. It's Rosedale the way it is. And this is my neighborhood, like literally where I'm living at the time, where in this video you have white people literally on tape to like saying black people are not wanted in my neighborhood. Black people get out. We don't want them here. They ruined this neighborhood. They ruined this community. And that's why we don't want black people to live here. They are protesting the integration of Rosedale. And you're looking at it today and you're like, wait a minute. That was New York. That was New York 40 years ago. It looks like Alabama. But in reality, that was New York. That's what I grew up with. So really, when you think about it, 11 years later, how much progress do you really expect to exist in this city? So like, I don't give a damn what people like romanticize about New York City. It was very racist, and this documentary just highlights that.
And especially the cops and the justice system was extremely racist.
Especially the cops.
Oh man, listen.
Especially the cops. There's a history of, I mean, Do the Right Thing. When you look at Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee's movie, and what he talks about in terms of police brutality, when that movie comes out, it's like there are like multiple incidents that had happened before that to create a Do the Right Thing. You know what I mean? So New York City has a long-term history of brutalizing and just looking at black males as, yo, we can victimize that crew. This is just another example. That documentary, they just did it through interrogation to get these people to admit to something that they did not do. And then ultimately how that impacts the black males of New York City for years. Because then when you think of how Giuliani comes in the 90s, and he's just like, yo, he has the ability to crack down on black folk whenever he wants. That's because he's the what do you call it? The consequence of years of it just happening. And finally they just said, you know what, let's just make it a policy. You know what? Yeah, I know y'all been doing it, but hell, just do it now. We'll just say stop and frisk, cool. Y'all can do it. We don't care because it works.
And that came on and Rudy Giuliani came on the heels of Ed Koch.
And David Dinkins.
And David Dinkins. Well, actually, it was Ed Koch, then David Dinkins.
Correct.
And
black
I don't really think, the black man, but I don't even think he did that much, though.
Who, Dinkins?
Yeah.
No, he did not. No, and honestly, he's the first time in my life that I really understood the challenge of being a black politician.
You're right about
Because
that.
when he got elected, we elected him pretty much how people looked at Barack Obama. That, oh, you in? Go, bruh, make it happen. Run it. Do what you need to do for black folk. And he gets in there and he's like, yo, he's taking care of so many other people. And it's kind of like, you ain't helping out the black community like we thought you was. Because the reality is now he's the mayor of everybody. So my recollection of David Dinkins is not a favorable one because at the time I did not have patience for a black politician like I do now. I didn't get it back then. I was just like, bruh, come on. You need to be doing this. You need to be doing that for black folks. And he didn't. He did something, but not like what we were expecting when he was elected. It ain't easy being a black politician.
That's the damn truth. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy times. Again, I implore everyone who hasn't seen when they see us, please go check it out. Regardless of what your preconceived notions about the case may be, or your feelings behind it, or how difficult it may be to watch, please just watch it.
And regardless of your ethnicity.
Right.
Because I was at a dinner tonight. I apologize for being late. But I'm coming from a dinner where I'm talking with two white females about this particular documentary. And I'm like, yo, they're asking. It just happened to come up in conversation. It happens that I'm sharing that, yo, I was there when it happens. And I'm telling my reflections. But at the end of the day, I'm like, yo, I need y'all to go watch that.
Right.
With people. Don't just watch it by yourself. Watch it with other people because y'all need to get and really understand two things. One, that's how it was. and in many communities, that's still how it is.
Right. And don't turn that shit off when it gets too difficult to watch. Accept the entire truth of that shit. And because, like, it's convenient when you're not, you know, if you're two white ladies, of course, it's convenient to be able to turn it off and it doesn't exist anymore. So, because I know if it's difficult for us to watch, it's got to be difficult for somebody who's never, like somebody who's still shocked, but that stuff goes on. Imagine how difficult it is for them to watch, but don't turn it off. Complete it. You know, please.
Well, hopefully they appreciate that this is not a movie, a fictional story, that this is based on something that happened. Because what I do understand is that for many people in this country, their experience, because of the color of their skin, they would not experience this, their family members would not experience this, their children would not experience this. So I can understand they looking at it like, this wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
They never experienced anything close to this. They can get pulled over for a ticket and get out and mouth off to a cop with like, and, you know, like, I don't fear, or I can engage the cop like I want to because he wrongfully pulled me over. Right. We do some shit like that, oh, you know, we risking our life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So their experience is different from ours. So I'm glad that this is based on a true story. So maybe, hopefully, they will receive it with truth and not question, oh, this couldn't happen. This couldn't happen.
Yeah. Or treat it like it's a one-off. Yeah. So, the next thing I want to talk about, on a brighter note, I guess, Michael Jackson, man. It is 10 years to the day that he died, but I didn't want to focus on his death, man. I want to focus on how he made us feel when he was alive. Michael Jackson, you know, arguably the greatest performer, entertainer in the history of the world. So I want to give us each of you an opportunity just to share what's your favorite Michael Jackson moment. West Coast.
Mike, man. Mike is. It was Moonwalker. It was not the actual moonwalk, but the actual movie Moonwalker. I think I still have it on VHS.
Wow.
But there was the extended Smooth Criminal video where my man ended up turning into a robot in a Lamborghini at the end.
Yeah.
You know, there was the the whole each music video was different. You know, you had a video with a cartoon bunny or the claymation bunny.
Yeah.
So, you know, but the Smooth Criminal, the dance scene, I'm still, every time I watch it, I discover somebody else moving in a different way. Because everybody in that speakeasy type place was on beat doing something.
Right.
You know, from the pool players to the bartender to the harlots on trying to sell their wares to the dudes walking up and down the stairs, the cat. Like everybody in that video was cold. So it was Moonwalker, man. The smooth, the iconic white suit, like the lean that can't nobody explain.
Yeah.
Like today, I still hear people being like, "There was holes in the floor." Nah. He had cables attached to him. Nah. He was just that flexible. Like, come on. Like, none of us know for real what happened. We just know that was cold, and they was all leaning in different directions.
It don't even matter.
Like, it doesn't matter. You know, the kids out there in the alley busting moves, like everything. It was Moonwalker, man.
Yeah, that was dope.
That was my favorite MJ moment.
All right. Al, what say you? What's your favorite MJ moment?
Man, you know, just, you know, you look at Michael Jackson, the Jackson folk, like, he is an individual that I have just the ultimate respect for being able to make the most of your talent, like, artistically and financially. And to look at where he started and to see where he ends up. Like, his story is, to me, is one of the ultimate American dream stories there is, where a person can, through hard work, amazing preparation, talent, like being prepared for this moment, and then as a youngster, just take it and run with it. Like, I mean, the reality is, like, Michael was a star. Like, he's not even 10 years old when the world recognizes that young boy right there is special. He's part of a special group, but he's the best. He's like one of the youngest, but he's the best.
Right.
And for him then to accomplish that, to me, is just like really is just what people never forget that about that man right there.
Right.
My favorite moment overall.
And
honestly,
really quick, shout out to Joe Jackson, the original LeVar Ball. Go ahead.
Hello, and then some. Like, you're right. He's the one that people need to look back at, that original father who, you know, was famous because of what he, and, you know, he don't get enough credit, right? But okay. Right. My favorite moment as I look through all of his career, and the one I'm a shout out, is the release of the video Thriller. Yeah. And what people please is that when this video, this is really, really early in the music video game. So not only was Michael locking it down as a musical artist, but with this new phenomenon, and new as in, you know, maybe 3-4 years old. I can't remember when it was released, but it had been around, but not long time. He had the whole country on lock, like, yo, the Thriller video is about to be released. I'm going to be in front of the TV at 6 o'clock so that I could watch it. And, like, that had never happened before. Not just in a black community. That had happened in music.
Yeah.
And me, like, that was just amazing. When you look back at it, for how trivially we look at music videos right now. Like, when you really think about where we are today and how we look at music videos, And to have a whole country like, yo, what you doing? I don't know. I got to be home in front of the black and white TV, 13-inch black and white TV that I got to use this hanger to get the good reception. But I will be sitting in front of that TV to watch the release of Thriller, the video. And it was dope. So that's my favorite Michael Jackson story.
No doubt. Yeah. I remember when the day the video dropped, I was probably 6. But it's crazy. Like you mentioned, videos were not that big at the time, but I remember Walmart actually having a video. Walmart in fucking Newberry, South Carolina, had a Michael Jackson Thriller release watching party. Like, people were just invited to Walmart. You know, they had TVs everywhere to come watch the premiere of Thriller. And when I say it was crazy, like, everybody was there for this video. Like, people didn't really understand the concept of music videos at that point. But I just remember looking at it as a kid thinking, like, yo, this is crazy. And actually feeling how scary that fucking video was. So yeah, it was really dope. Yosh, what say you? Yeah. So, Yosh, what say you, man? What's your favorite MJ moment?
I don't have a favorite MJ moment.
Really? Well, you not an MJ fan, or you just like them all?
I'm going to tell a very little known story.
Okay.
So, as a young boy, I was a huge Michael Jackson fan.
Okay.
And I had every Michael Jackson album. And every birthday up until I was about 13, my mom would torture me by putting on a Michael Jackson record and making me perform a song.
Sounds about right.
Walking on.
All right.
Dance routine and all, because I knew them all. I was a huge fan.
Was it a particular song?
Oh, God. No, I knew every song. Every single Michael Jackson song, I knew every single word to. I knew every single dance routine to.
So you had all of the Beat It gang fight down pat?
Everything. The Thriller dance, the Beat It, the Get It On Your Toes and Moonwalk, like every single move.
Did you have the zipper jacket or a glove?
Yes. I had a glove.
Oh, you was an impersonator. You was bad. You was good.
I had the all white joint from Smooth Operator.
You was a legit smooth criminal.
Yeah.
No, I'm not Smooth Operator, Smooth Criminal. Sorry.
Is there some video that exists that we might want to
Look, man,
we
I
discover
am
this?
so happy that cell phones didn't exist at this period in time.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Did anybody have a VHS camcorder?
Because the jokes, VHS camcorders it was Betamax at that point.
Wow.
Nobody got no pictures, no Polaroids.
No, there are pictures that exist.
Oh, come on, man. We need to do the slideshow.
Yeah.
No.
We need the files, Yosh. We need the files.
No. So I guess my life was, and then I was always, and I'm going to tell you what's funny. So my mom would wait because she knew I wouldn't do it. And every year, like clockwork, y'all know what time it is. And I would go in my room. Go, baby, go. Go get changed. And I would go in my room, and on my bed would be whatever outfit you wanted me to put on.
Wow.
And I would put it on, and I would come out, and I had performed Beat It.
Wow.
Thriller.
So all those are your favorite moments.
Yeah. No. Definitely not my favorite moments. I have a cousin, Camille, that to this day makes fun of me.
Hit us up, Camille, at info@godefylife.com.
I'm talking about between Camille, Khalil, and Ibrahim. They kill me but Camille is the worst. But
Yo.
Every chance they get, they kill me.
There's pictures out there, please.
Yeah.
Info at
I'm
GoDefyLife.com.
I'm rubbing my hands together like Birdman right now.
Well, I will say this.
Man.
I'm going home. My mom sent me some old pictures like 2 days ago. One of them is of me and my brother, me and my middle brother, because I have a younger brother. And we look like Mir and Edison, so that's why she sent it to me. So she's been nostalgic. So I know that there are pictures that exist at the crib. I will make this promise. If I find one that I am okay with, I will post it on social media.
All right. And
Okay,
for you taking that leap, and I'll challenge our other co-hosts, including the two that aren't here, we'll also post a picture of from our youth.
Yeah. Okay. If I could find one that
anyone or like a particularly funny one.
A particularly funny one. If Yoshi's willing to put up the MJ pics, right? If Yoshi's willing to put up the MJ pics, I'll put up a funny one.
Now
I got one that's pretty funny that I'll share. What the hell?
There is a few that exist, like the high water pants. Yeah, there are a couple. I know she has them, and yeah. So I'll be in New York this weekend. So if I find them, I will take a picture of it. I'll scan it and I will post it.
Yes,
especially if it's funny, I'll do that. I'll make that deal. But yeah, those are my. I think that Michael Jackson was way ahead of his time. I think that his music is transcendent. Even in his older years, lyrically, he was really good. Of all the songs he made, I think my favorite song is I can't remember the exact title of the song, but it was a love ballad, and it was the name of the song is Heaven Can Wait.
Oh yeah,
and it was on his later albums, like
the Invincible album.
Oh my God, like the lyrics of that song, like if the angels came for me today, I would tell them no. Are you kidding me? Because I can't leave my baby alone. That's some fly ass shit. You know what I'm saying? That's the chance I'll take. Baby, I'll stay. Heaven can wait. Yo, you telling a girl heaven can wait?
Right.
I'm staying for you.
Mike has some legit game. You got to go back to the Thriller album, to the Lady in My Life.
Lady of, oh my God.
Classic.
Like, he was spitting real game.
Like, he was spitting real game when people was thinking about game.
Yeah.
So,
Mike was that dude, man.
Yeah, he was. Shouts out.
Yeah. Yeah, so, again, man, salute to MJ. Didn't want to dwell on his death again, man. Just want to celebrate his life and what he brought us. So, I don't know if we'll ever see. I mean, I know people talk about Beyonce and Chris Brown, and they are dope in their own right, but it's tough to fill them MJ shoes, man. Well, we gonna jump to some listener questions, so Yosh can. I already know which one you eyeing, so I'm gonna save that one for last.
What's up, fuckers?
Yeah.
So our first listener question is from LaShawn in Hampton, Virginia. LaShawn wants each of us. She ain't even asking a question. She's demanding. She says, "Give me one each unpopular opinion of yours from sports and music." Yoshi, I'll start with you. What's the one unpopular opinion you have from sports and one from music?
One from music, Tupac is the greatest.
Okay. Is that really unpopular, though?
I mean, it's not a universal truth.
Okay. Nah.
I would say it's unpopular in the sense of...
Did you say the greatest or one of the greatest?
One of the greatest.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's... But okay.
No, I don't think that's unpopular. I thought you said the greatest, like the GOAT.
No, I don't think he's the GOAT either. That's me.
No, that's not a very unpopular opinion.
Yeah, I'm pushing back.
I
on
don't
this
think
one.
many people think he's the GOAT, but I think they do see him as in that realm of the greatest ever. If you were going to name the greatest, Tupac would be. People would put him in the list, and I think it's more popularity than anything else, because I probably have two Tupac songs that I actually listen to. What You Want to Do for Love, and I Get Around.
Oh, I get it. So you're saying that's an unpopular opinion from others, it's not your opinion, though.
Oh, no, it's my opinion. I don't think he's one of the greatest.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Now I get it.
Okay,
I thought
so your opinion is unpopular.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought you said that's what the question was.
Yeah, I get you now. Okay. So you're saying your opinion is that Tupac is not one of the greats.
Yes.
Okay. I get you. Oh, yeah, that's definitely an unpopular. Okay.
Yeah,
Ooh, yeah.
that makes
that's
way
what I
more
was
sense now.
If Thomas Stevens was here, he'd probably shoot you. But yeah.
But he's not. So.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I get it. Definitely a unpopular opinion.
So that's one. And in sports, I couldn't really come up with one that I thought was an unpopular opinion per se, because anything I would say is an unpopular opinion is a popular opinion. So, for what I thought, LeBron. No, oh wait, no, I do. LeBron James is the best ever.
Okay.
That's an unpopular opinion. And then I was actually a part of a conversation where they were debating who's better, LeBron or Kobe. I was sitting with some coaching buddies of mine, and it was a funny conversation. But yeah, LeBron is the GOAT is an unpopular opinion because, well, I don't think it's unpopular. I think it's a 50-50 split on that. So I really couldn't
so
come
that
up
doesn't
with...
make it unpopular.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I couldn't
50%
find...
of the people agree
I'm
with
digging. I'm digging, Al. I'm trying.
Right.
I'm trying. Like, I'm really, really trying. Because I couldn't really find anything sports-wise that was, like, universally unpopular.
I got one sports-wise that's pretty unpopular.
Okay, well, I might agree with you. Maybe it slipped my mind.
Hey, what's your unpopular opinion?
With regard to sports, steroids need to be legal.
Oh, wow. Okay. Expound on that, please.
The best way I've ever heard it described is usually from comedians. I think it was Daniel Tosh who said, I want all my people to look like Superman. If you're going to get out there and run faster and be stronger, well, damn it, run faster and be the strongest.
Okay.
I don't care if your balls shrink up to the size of grape nuts. I could care less.
Wow. Okay. And again, I ask, is that any different than people cheering for Kevin Durant's injury?
Yeah, because an injury is something that happens.
Is it any better? I put it there. I know it's different.
Yes,
But is it any
in
better?
both to answer both questions, yes, it is absolutely different, and it is absolutely better.
Okay.
Steroids are a choice. If you choose to fill your body with these things to make yourself bigger, stronger, and faster, I mean, overall, you're in the entertainment field.
Okay.
Entertain me, damn it. Am I not entertained?
I would counter by saying playing on a bad Achilles is a choice.
Agreed. Now, but like we went through that though. If a bunch of doctors are like, I mean, you can play with it, then I'm going to listen to a bunch of doctors. Now, if a bunch of doctors say you can take
prescribe
these steroids, right? And then they say you can take these steroids and they will make you bigger, stronger, and faster. Here are some of the side effects. It's a choice.
Yeah, they're both choices. That's
You
what
know,
I'm saying.
you make the there. That's my unpopular opinion. My unpopular opinion is that steroids should just be legal. If you're going to let them go, let them juice to the gill. See how big they can get.
Okay.
All right. And
That
music.
will be interesting. All right.
The music unpopular opinion This one's hilarious because I actually had to do a little bit of research to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
Drake is the greatest rapper of all time.
Oh, wow. Please expound on that.
According to Billboard and the charts. He's got the most number ones. He's got the most appearances in the pop and rap charts.
Mm-hmm.
So according to the Billboard sales and SoundScan and all the et ceteras, Drake's the best rapper of all time. Now that particular unpopular opinion, I don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
However, the numbers
You're
say...
confusing me.
Yeah, it's like...
No. I'm just saying, the numbers...
You're throwing out opinions that ain't really your opinion.
Right, yeah, I'm asking for your opinion. It's something you
my
agree
opinion,
with.
My opinion was my opinion. Tupac's not the greatest.
I get you, Yoshi. Once you
The
explained
steroid
it,
opinion was actually my
we
opinion.
understood.
Opinion is legitimately just based on chart numbers. Like if we were to look at just the numbers of the rappers that could be considered the greatest, Drake's numbers are better than everybody else's.
So is that your opinion, or
But that,
It's
like, is
based
that actually your
numbers,
opinion?
So I guess it's just based on the numbers.
Like that could lead to a whole different conversation. Just numbers.
Agreed. Doesn't make it does. What it means is it an unpopular opinion? Yeah, it's unpopular to real hip hop heads. Don't none of us agree with that. But if you ask everybody who's buying these albums, they do agree with it.
But that's I think
it's
Al
more
is asking. I think that's what Al is asking. Is it your unpopular opinion?
So like I said, that is an unpopular opinion that I don't agree with. It's an unpopular opinion
All right.
that
Well,
it was like I read the question verbatim, and it says, "Give me one each, an unpopular opinion of yours from sports and music."
Yeah.
Well, that
okay.
was one that I just happened to discover while I was trying to make trivia questions.
Okay.
so your opinion that you're saying Drake is not the best rapper of all time,
Me personally,
and that opinion is unpopular because other people would say
keep
he
buying
is.
his records.
Gotcha. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Al, what you got?
So from a sports, my opinion is that women's basketball is a beautiful game and is an amazing game to watch live and watch on TV.
And that's your opinion.
That's my personal opinion,
Okay.
and I think it is an unpopular opinion amongst the masses.
Especially
agree
Keon
with
Small.
Especially Keon, Caveman, Small.
Oh man! For those of you who weren't around at the time, we actually had a WNBA player as a guest on the show, and Keon Small came out his mouth and said, "Women's basketball ain't a real sport."
Not a real sport. Yeah.
That guy. But yeah, no, Al, you're
that's
really staunch in that opinion. I've heard it before. I think our listeners have heard it before, and it's definitely an opinion of yours. And I agree.
I agree with
Not
that.
enough.
Yeah. Not enough, yeah, and not enough people agree, which makes it unpopular. That's a very good one, because there's a lot of Keon Smalls out there, men and women, who don't think that women's basketball is appealing. You beg to differ, and I think I do. I think Jay does. It's a different game, but it's beautiful to watch.
It is, man. Nobody, like I said, I learned my crossover from a girl when I was maybe 9. She was the best player in the gym. And her crossover was so smooth that even when I'm watching, if I watch a WNBA game now, that's my favorite thing. Their guard play so smooth.
And
did y'all the way they move.
Did y'all become high school sweethearts and attend Southern Cal, and then you tore your knee up, and then she ended up going to the WNBA, and you was about to marry Tyra Banks, and sorry, that was a movie. But yeah,
That sounds like a dope movie.
It would be a dope movie, wouldn't it? Yeah. I should write that. Yeah, that's a good one, though, Al. What about your music unpopular opinion?
So I think my music unpopular opinion is that, I was trying to think Um, so how many people look at women's basketball as unappealing? That's how I look at the majority of hip hop that's on the radio and that's bought and sold today. It is just unappealing, and the fact that the masses support it. Like I look at y'all like I look at Donald Trump supporters, just like I don't get it. I don't get it. When there's other shit out there, why y'all choose that bullshit? I don't get it. And maybe that's how people look at me when I go to a women's basketball game. They like, dog, you know, you could go see better basketball over there. I don't know why are you going to watch that when you could do that. Maybe. All I know is the word unappealing. It does not appeal to me. That's a great word. Love it. That's my unpopular feeling. This shit is unappealing.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I ain't gonna argue with you on that one.
And that's, you know, to the question of what's unpopular or not, like that opinion to me is not unpopular amongst my circle.
Right.
Like most of the people I rock with, that's how they feel.
Yeah, right.
But when you think about really in terms of unpopular, the bigger and broader,
the masses, right?
The masses, yeah. Apparently, somebody's fucking with it.
Absolutely.
Right, they're selling out stadiums.
Yeah. Right.
Like $200 a ticket.
Yeah.
Ticket to stand.
Yeah, right. I mean, amongst the masses, you are in the 1% with that opinion. I agree.
Yeah, that is an unpopular opinion by definition.
All right.
Great question.
Yeah.
That was different.
Right. My unpopular opinion musically is, I mean, it's in my bio. Nas is overrated. I just think I think he's one-dimensional, and he struggles to appeal to
the West Coast.
Well, that too, but I'm saying like he struggles to appeal to people who just want to relax and listen to music. You know, get what I'm saying? Like he's kind of the antithesis of. Well, I ain't gonna say anything. He's like DMX at the opposite end of the spectrum. You know, like don't nobody want to hear DMX barking all over an album. That's why he didn't last long. Same with Nas, is why he's not as relevant today. Is don't nobody want to be thinking the entire album. So that's why I say he's one-dimensional. I think he's dope at what he does, but when he branches out and tries to do other stuff, he can't get away from trying to be over everybody's head. So that's why I say Nas is overrated.
That's hilarious. So then how you feel about Common? Is it just that Nas didn't make the acting crossover?
I don't think, but nobody thinks Common is the greatest rapper of all time. So it's hard for him to be overrated. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, Jay-Z did. Thought he was up there.
Yeah, but that's just Jay-Z. Like, this is like, it wouldn't be an unpopular opinion to say Common's overrated because nobody really mentions him in that GOAT category other than Jay-Z.
Yeah.
But I don't think
Jay-Z, he's your favorite rapper's favorite rapper.
But I don't take Jay-Z's word as gospel. I have my own opinion. I don't think Common is in nowhere near the top 10. So it would be hard for me to say he's overrated because I don't rate him that high. And I don't hear many people rate him that high.
Fair enough.
But I hear Nas is always in that conversation. I just think he's overrated. Sports-wise, and this is something I came up with recently, is my unpopular opinion is that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest basketball player ever. He always gets left out of the conversation.
Yeah, he does too. Yeah, he does. Except for not real basketball players, but some of the basketball players who are a little younger than him, like say Isaiah Thomas or something, like someone in that generation,
Somebody
they are really quick to bring up Jabbar.
Right.
Yeah.
Really quick. Yeah. And it's like, do not forget Kareem.
Right. Anybody that played with him.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And I had to redo my list without the preconceived notion that it starts with Michael and LeBron. And as I got to Kareem, what I realized is that he's the perfect combination of everything we try to equate in that number one spot. Championships, scoring titles, longevity, defense, MVPs, like everything. No breaks, like injury, like durability, like everything. So,
The skyhook.
yeah, and that's what it was. And he had the most dominant weapon in the history of the game. After Al and Keon and Pooh and myself had a few heated conversations, I decided to redo my list, and that's what I came up with. Because Kareem, and I say it's unpopular because he's never mentioned in that conversation. You know, at least not in the first paragraph. He's not. So yeah,
unpopular, but I respect it. I definitely respect it. That's a good call.
It's difficult to argue it. Like there hasn't been anybody that's been like that. Like they've shown flashes of his dominance.
And what I like about Kareem as well is who he was off the court.
right.
Yeah, he fought Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
But he was an activist. Like
He
he
was.
cared about the community
Yeah.
and put his face out there and associated himself with black Muslims and like that to me
Right.
says a lot.
Yeah. And the man was in airplanes, which shows, and he made fun of him. Like he didn't take himself too seriously in that regard. We see, we would never see Michael Jordan in a role like that because he takes himself so seriously. And not just to pick on Michael, but most elite athletes in that stature take themselves so seriously. Tiger Woods wouldn't be in that kind of role. You know what I'm saying? So to see him not be afraid to poke fun at himself in that airplane movie, that Kareem was dope, man, and still is.
Also a quick shout out to the first Milwaukee Bucks MVP, Lou Alcindor.
Absolutely.
Since we're bringing up Kareem in conversation.
Right. Yeah, the man won a championship in Milwaukee, for goodness sakes. Yeah.
Man, still to this day, one of the greatest players to come out of New York City public high school basketball.
Right.
To this day.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Damn good question, LaShawn. Yeah, again, when we take 20, 30 minutes to answer your question, it's a damn good question. Appreciate that. Yosh, we're going to start with you on this one, man. Damon from North Augusta, South Carolina, wants to know, what would you do if you had 24 hours to live? Just think.
Now it's time for the disclaimer.
Yes.
Nah, I ain't gonna use the disclaimer.
Oh, shit.
I ain't gonna use the disclaimer because I feel like it's universal. My disclaimer, they know what's about to come.
Oh, God.
I am probably 24 hours to live. What am I gonna do? And I gave this long, hard thought. And I came up with, I'm going to fuck for 24 hours.
Good God.
A different girl every hour.
You're going to die before the 24 hours up.
You're just going to need a corner man, a cut man, a spit bucket.
Listen,
somebody
with sweating the fluids. Just wipe it down.
About 12 hours in, just somebody slapping him. You're a bum.
Throw in the towel. Throw in the towel.
It's the final round. You can do it.
This is it.
Yo's gonna have the
I'm
inspirational
like a champ, man.
Karate Kid music in the background and all kind of shit.
Right.
Hey, listen, I want somebody just feeding me food.
Oh, boy.
Like, matter of fact, don't even feed me food. Just put a tube in me.
It's an IV.
It's an IV. That's all I need. Hook up the IV.
No one's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best.
And let me go to work. That's all I'm gonna do. Work. 24 flat straight hours until the good Lord Jesus calls me home.
Wow. So you gonna line up the chicks, the 24 chicks, before your day starts? You gotta get your roster straight.
Man, listen, there's no story better than I ain't got but an hour to live, baby, and I want to spend it with you.
Right. Heaven can wait.
It brings up a key point.
Huh? What you said, Jay?
Heaven can
Bring
wait.
up a key point.
That's a heaven. You tell her heaven can wait. I'm about to die, baby.
Heaven can wait. I just got this 1 hour with you.
Right.
That's it.
For this hour,
Actually, you know what? I don't have an hour.
Right.
I got 40 minutes.
Oh shit! You gotta recover.
Because I need 20 minutes to get you out the door and somebody else to come in.
Well, I think it'll be safe to say at that point,
so
you wouldn't know if you was coming or going. That's
I'd be coming somewhere
and going.
Coming and going. Coming and going. Gotta believe.
That would be me all day, every day, all 24 hours, 40 minutes, an hour.
Oh,
shit. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Coach. All right, Al, what would you do, man, if you had 24 hours to live?
I wish I had something funny or erotic like Yoshi. But honestly, I'm keeping it real. 24 hours, I would spend it with my family. I would, be around my wife, kids, listening to music, just doing shit that I love to do. And that's how I would go out my last 24 hours. And I wouldn't have it scripted, wouldn't have it scheduled. It would just, be organic. However, whatever happened. But it would be with the fam.
All right. Okay. Jay, what are you doing with 24 hours left?
Presently, I'm Googling how much it costs to charter a private jet, because I also have to keep in mind that I need to travel to where I'm going.
You can borrow Al's.
All right, so I'm one part Yosh, one part Al here. Because first I got to get across the country, so that's about 4 hours. 4 or 5 hours, give or take. A little turbulence, maybe a little headwind. Now, the one part Yosh, though, is that I do need to, I think it was Mason Betha, the great urban poet, who once said, I turn out all the hoes that's heterosexual. So I need like 2 of them on the plane with me, though.
Okay. 2 birds.
First stop, Vegas. Now, the excess that will be involved in the last, because at this point I'm down to 20 hours or so?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to need drugs. So, because I'm not trying to deal with the cut man or the IV. Nope. I only got 24 hours. I need everything that's going to keep me up, down, sideways, in every other direction. So, step 1, airplane dropped me off in Vegas. I'm on the strip for a couple more hours because I need the plane to then go pick up my family right quick. It's only like an hour and a half flight to the Bay. So go get my brother, come back. So that's 3 more hours. So I'm looking at 7 hours gone, right? Now, in that 7 hours, when they arrived, I should be sufficiently intoxicated, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
To say the least. And with that remaining 17 hours, it should be I believe the kids call it a shit show of debaucherous activities, possibly culminating in a marriage and an annulment in the last 2 hours to a stripper named Lexus just because that's the name I chose.
Man, baddest stripper I ever seen was named Lexus, so I get it.
See, I was trying to like Lexus Cinnamon, and whatever the name is, doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. Have a seat.
All right.
You know, and then it goes back to what Yoshi was doing, except like maybe for the last 20 or so minutes, you know, sit around with the family and sing Boys to Men songs or something.
Y'all got 20 minutes. Make the most.
We got about 20 minutes at the end of it, though. You know, my brother should be with me for most of it, but my mom can't come. So for that last 20 minutes, I need, you know, just that little last moment. Guys, love you. Thanks. It's been real. Woo!
Ric Flair. And I'm out.
On the way out. On the way out. Woo!
Word. Nah. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be boring without, man. I'm chilling with the fam. I'm gonna do everything that I like doing with my family. So I'm firing up a grill somewhere, and hopefully it's football season. I can watch a Steelers game. If not, I'll find my favorite one of all time and watch that one. But yeah, man, just me and the wife and the kids, and for the last few hours. But I'm definitely throwing in, you know, big ass cookout, and everybody invited, and y'all gotta send me out good. But nothing crazy, because my wife is Puerto Rican. She'll cut me if I do what y'all do. So
you on your way out? Go out with some scars.
Now I want all my 24. I get cut out at 12. But yeah,
bleed for 12 hours. It ain't cool.
All right, but it'll definitely be family centric. But yeah, really good question.
No, but Yoshi coming with me. It's cool.
You're right.
I'll be right. Yeah.
Right. Like Vegas, bruh. It is what it is.
Oh, man. But Damon, LaShawn, thank y'all for the questions. We always appreciate them. We enjoy them, if y'all can't tell. But if you want a question answered or something addressed, or if you just disagree with something we say, you want to, you know, speak back, push back on it, hit us up on social media at Go Defy Life, or you can email us at info@godefylife.com. We are going to jump into a commercial, and after that, we'll come back and talk some NBA, some boxing, and then we'll jump into some trivia. We'll be right back.
This is Coach English of the Staley and English Show with Coach Kurtz. Me, along with my brothers, Coach Staley and Coach Kurtz, talk everything related to high school, college, and professional sports. It's the first show by coaches, for coaches, parents, and players. New episodes drop each Monday on GoDefyLife.com and everywhere your favorite podcasts are available.
Welcome to the Coach Staley, Coach English Show. Ghoulish gang. Coach put me in the game.
Welcome back. This is episode 113 of the Defy Life podcast. It's J.R. Glymph here with me. It's Alvin Glymph, Yoshi, and West Coast J. That was a Staley and English show, co-hosted by our very own Yusuf English. Check out Coach English and Coach Josh Staley as they interview some of the hottest and best and most interesting names in sports. Definitely check out the Staley and English show featuring Coach Kurtz on the Defy Life Podcast Network. Guys, so when we first jumped on, we kind of, drifted off into some NBA talk, and we cut ourselves short because we knew we'd end up back here. We want to talk some free agency. And Yosh, you mentioned that last week, listening to Pooh give his ideas on what the Golden State Warriors should do essentially saying that he would move on from the injured Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant, being that they are both, well, Klay Thompson's a definite free agent. Kevin Durant can opt out and become a free agent. That Poole said he will move on, sign other free agents, and not take the chance that they're going to return to full strength. You said you disagree with that. What are your thoughts?
I think that, well, I wouldn't move on from Klay. I think that Kevin Durant's a done deal regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Klay is giving you, Klay's injury is not as risky, I would say, as Kevin Durant's.
All right.
So, and Klay has proven to be more of, you've won without Durant.
Klay is a warrior.
And Klay is a warrior. And Durant said it best. You know, it's the Warriors and me. And Klay was actually drafted there. He preferred to have his career there. So I'd go ahead and take care of him and then possibly go after one of the lower max players. And because I think they did pretty well without Durant. If they would have just had one other guy that could score the basketball, and it could be something as simple as bringing back, you know, Harrison Barnes was in the mix and a couple other players, just people that, you know, would come in. I don't necessarily think they need another shooter. They do need another scorer, though. Somebody who could score the basketball.
Right.
I don't think, and I think that the point that I disappeared. The point that I disagreed with Pooh was, you're going to waste Steph Curry's years. And I don't know if it's really a waste of his years. I think Steph Curry is wasting his own years. He hasn't been able to get over the hump on his own. So I think that you got to bring somebody in who is going to get the tough basket, you know, because, I mean, Steph makes circus plays. And whether he makes circus plays look normal because that's what he practices. Yeah, them things are all net. They don't bounce around the rim and go in. They're not luck. But on the days where those things are not dropping, that it's usually not picked up but by one other person, and that's Klay Thompson. And I think Klay Thompson is even a better shooter than he is. He might not be a better ball handler, but I think he's a better pure shooter. So you add that, and I just think you need somebody who can score on all three levels and defend. And I personally think, and I said this on a Stealing English show that posted earlier today, that I think Jimmy Butler is probably the best fit for them. Personally, that's just my thought. Someone who can defend on the perimeter and who can create their own shot and can score on all three levels. So,
well, as of this recording, the Rockets are eyeing a sign and trade for Jimmy Butler.
Okay. Well, of course, this was recorded after the Stealing English show, so I don't know. But, so
I like that.
I just think Jimmy fits what they want to do. Well, what they need, not what they want to do, but what they need, which is a person who can defend on the perimeter, who is okay in the pick and roll, because Steph's not. Klay is probably not going to be able to move fluidly for a while, and he was one of their better defenders. So if you add him with Jimmy Butler, although apparently according to West Coast Jay, it's not going to happen, but if it were to, I think he's the one that fits better than any other free agent out there right now.
Okay.
I mean, not necessarily any other free agent, because if we're talking pure unadulterated pipe dreams, if since Kawhi has opted out, the best fit would be Kawhi.
Well, I mean, I think that I'm and you're right. If we're talking pipe dreams, I guess I was thinking realistically before you brought that up, that they're talking a sign and trade with Jimmy Butler, but because I thought he would be the fit for them, because I figured they're not going to get Kawhi, because Kawhi probably is going to end up out in LA in one of the 2 LA spots. So,
like but what it looks like is that the Rockets are planning to try and push for Jimmy Buckets. Although they currently don't have the salary cap space, so they may end up in a Lakers situation where they get their guy, but then they have nothing else.
Right.
But no, I hear you. Like Jimmy Buckets, he is other than Kawhi, obviously the best free agent prospect that's out there. When Kevin went down, then it changed everything. Like his ripple effect was probably the most notable. Clay's, I thought that I always believed that the Warriors were going to make a strong push for Clay either way. Like wherever he ended up, I felt like the Warriors were going to at least try. If Kevin would have decided to just plain opt out, it would have been what it was. I feel like we would have, would we have tried? Maybe. But I can't guarantee that. Whereas Clay, I felt like they were, it's like you said, we drafted him. We were, it was him and Dre, that was our draft class that year. Why would you want to break up that whole thing? They just built it. Like I said, the stadium has been built and putting the finishing touches on it. You'd want to have the team that won you the championships the whole time in that stadium. So at the very least, they would make a play for him. Like, and a strong play. But Jimmy Buckets is the best non-Kawhi person out there. Like, Kawhi gets to legitimately do whatever he wants. Because everybody's going to fall all over themselves to sign him after his finals performance.
So, I'll ask this again regarding Jimmy. Do you think he wants to go somewhere where he's going to be ultimately the third fiddle again?
I don't know that
I think
he wants
to go somewhere to win.
Yeah, that's what I think.
That's what I was saying. I think he just wants to be. I think Jimmy has had issues because he hasn't been anywhere where winning is a priority.
Yeah, or where he thought that it was a legitimate shot.
Yeah.
Like, because when he got to Minnesota, initially, he was good there. It was like, all right, cool. We can, wait a minute. These fools don't like to practice. I don't know how I feel about this. Then when he got to Philly, initially, it was, this is all. Wait a minute. There's, you only show up sometimes. And then they got Tobias out there, and he was like, okay, we might could do that. Wait a minute. How you got an upper respiratory issue? And so I feel like Jimmy wants to he's at that point in his career where it's past, he's already had to be the man. He's already gone to somewhere as the man and realized that being the man depends on the culture. And so, being the man in the culture that he was in wasn't the right culture for the manedness. If that's with the manedness, is that all right?
Yeah, that works.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
that works.
Then, so now I feel like he just wants to win.
Okay.
And so, even to go to, if he ends up at the Rockets, as long as the Rockets don't necessarily have to give up anything ridiculous, that's not a bad fit. Like, that it would work with Chris, the Beard, and I still love Clint Capella.
But he would have to be traded, though. He couldn't.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't think they'd be able to keep Capella?
I mean, because if you're signing and trading, money got to be right. And for me to sign and trade, you're going to have to give me back somebody. Man. Otherwise, why am I doing this?
Yeah, let me say
this. The only reason they be doing it is so they can get something. Otherwise, Jimmy gonna leave and leave him with nothing.
West Coast, I don't like Jimmy in Houston.
I don't either, personally.
I just think that it's gonna be too much. If, like, we know his quote unquote leadership style. If Chris Paul is having an issue with James Harden,
right.
You
That's
mean
fair.
to tell me Jimmy Buckets ain't gonna punch that motherfucker in his beard?
That's fair.
All right.
I like
So
Butler with the Clippers.
Yeah,
I'm telling-
at this point, the way the Clippers are designed, any of the free agents with the Clippers make these overall.
Yeah.
Like they become a legitimate contender at that point. If they're definitely going to move up in the West Coast or the Western Conference standings. Like they're not going to be the 8th seed this time. If they get any of the free agents, and if they get Kawhi, then they almost become the prohibitive favorites immediately.
Do you know where I love Jimmy at? Where I would love him?
Other
I
than
would
Golden
love Jimmy
State?
in New Orleans.
Oh God, that would change everything.
Wow.
I would love Jimmy Butler in New Orleans.
Like I'm already intrigued with New Orleans in a couple of years. I'm just intrigued with them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they could, with Jimmy Butler in New Orleans, they win now. Like, it might not be a championship, but they are winners now.
Like they go right back to that team that pushed the Warriors to the brink, to the game 7s.
Yeah.
I
They go
don't
right
buy
back
that
to that.
though. I don't buy it. Like simply because you had a top 3 player in the league.
You did.
And what did you really add now that you've lost him? Because Zion is
Well,
not.
I would
AD
say
yet.
Zion's unproven is all he is. But I
Who?
feel like they added a Zion.
But they didn't, like, what I'm saying is, what did you add to that
Well, I
like
think
offsets
that-
the loss of Anthony Davis?
Well, let me say this. I don't think you added anything that offsets the loss of Anthony Davis. But apparently Anthony Davis didn't carry your franchise over the edge anyway. All right,
Yeah, but that's what I'm, so with those pieces
now,
that
what I would say
were
is
there,
this.
what did they add?
I would say this. Drew Holiday can defend.
He was there.
Drew Holiday can flat out ball.
No. Listen to what I'm saying, though. Lonzo can defend, and Jimmy Butler can defend. And in this league, where you have good perimeter players, you need great perimeter defenders, and all 3 of those guys can defend on the perimeter.
They still don't have shooting though.
No, and you're right. So scoring might be a slight issue, but they'll be a lot of fun to watch because I think beyond LeBron James, I think Zion is probably going to be one of the better guys that plays help defense. He's great at help defense. He ain't good at all on the ball, but help defense, he gonna come over and get a good bit of block shots.
He's gonna knock the ball to a few rows back.
Yeah. And I think that if you have guys on the perimeter that can defend, that won't get beat to the basket, and all they're giving up is long threes, I think that makes for a pretty good defense.
I mean, what about the other kid they drafted, the 7-footer from Kentucky?
Texas.
Oh, was he
Texas.
Texas? I'm sorry.
He's
Yeah.
from Texas.
And
I
he's a
don't really
project.
like that kid.
Yeah.
He's
Right,
a
right.
project.
Is he more
Athletic.
of a project? Because
Yeah.
I didn't see him play much, so that's
Yeah,
what I'm
he's a
asking.
couple of years out.
Yeah.
Right. He's real young.
He was overhyped out of high school, and
Right.
But he is 7 foot and can jump.
yeah, well, shoot, we played against a 7-footer, the number 1 player in his class in South Carolina this year. I mean, we played him Friday night, and my 5'7" guard blocked his shot, blocked his dunk. So
That's hilarious. Also, after the draft, quick shout out to South Carolina for going 1-2.
Definitely.
yo, let me tell y'all something about South Carolina basketball, and we can move on from here. South Carolina, the NCAA has changed the live periods. It used to be 2 in the spring, 2 in July. Now for AAU seasons, so now they've changed it to 1 in the spring, in April or May, and then 1 in July, and 2 in June for high school schools. For high schools.
What does that mean exactly? What's the live period?
Live period is where college coaches can actually come into the gym and watch kids play.
All right.
Like normally, the college coaches could only watch live streams. So like Baller TV or all these other live streams that get the tournaments.
Oh, got you. So they can be in the gym with. Okay, now I'm with you.
They can actually be in the gym with the player. And if the player is a junior, a rising junior, actually talk to them during this period. So the live period was last weekend and this weekend coming up. and it had to be sanctioned through the National Federation of High School Sports, which means the high school leagues from each state had to sanction it. We played a game Friday night. It was about 30 Division I schools in that gym.
Man.
Saturday, passing through, you're talking about 40 to 50 schools. And then they had an elite camp. The high school league here in South Carolina had an elite camp. Somewhere upwards to 80 college coaches had been through that gym for the elite camp between 9 a.m. to from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. because that's the only hours they could be in the gym.
Right.
9 a.m. to 4
Word
p.m.
is out. South Carolina producing some studs.
South Carolina basketball is on the rise. And the thing is, South Carolina's always been seen as a football state.
No, but
with Zion and not necessarily Zion. I think a lot of schools whiffed on Ja Morant.
Definitely.
And so they don't want to miss the next Ja Morant. They just don't want to whiff on that again. So when I mean from Virginia Tech to Texas A&M to, the Carolina schools was there in the building. But a lot of the top programs, to Tennessee, to a lot of these top programs were in the building in the many different spots that they had games going on. And, I have a top prospect now. And so my phone was going nuts. But, it is South Carolina basketball is on the rise. And whether Zion and Ja Morant fizzle out or not, they have done a lot for the state of South Carolina when it comes to basketball.
Right. Yeah.
And for fly ass draft day suits.
No,
True.
that country shit. Ja was so country.
Oh my God, he might be my new favorite interview, just for forever.
Yeah. Oh, and a point I wanted to bring up. Stephen A. Smith brought this point up the day after the draft on First Take and on his show on ESPN Radio. For all the shit that people talk about black fathers, all you saw on draft night was black father.
Right.
In their kids.
And you saw those kids hug their daddy first.
Bingo.
Yeah, man. Like the draft day videos, but they were so cold. And they showing the workouts that they were put through. As soon as you serious about this? That was the one that got me was Ja's dad in particular. Like, you serious about this? Okay. Well, here's what we about to do. And the workouts they showed in the backyard, man.
Now, mind you, and Ja's dad, he been in his life.
Yeah.
Hasn't missed a game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, for all of those that want to bash black men for not.
Right. And he had the fly suit in the building.
This. What you said, Jay?
And Ja's dad had the fly suit in the building.
Oh, man, listen.
And a dope hat.
And a flyer's hat.
He looked
like a flyer's hat.
He looked like he said young blood on every sentence.
He looked like he said young.
Yeah, he do.
He looked like he keep toothpicks on.
Yeah, exactly. Like everything. Hey, like his first response to you was gonna be, "Man, if I had your hands, I'd cut mine off, young blood." Like,
yeah, if I had your hands, man can't kill nothing, won't nothing die, young blood.
I can't
call tell me pig pussy ain't poke.
Right.
Let me tell you something about young blood. If my mama had a dick, she'd be my daddy.
Right. He got all kind of comebacks.
You know he stays slicker than our shit on a mossy branch. You know that. You know that, young blood.
Yeah, no that.
Man. But yeah, man. Definitely a good look for South Carolina basketball. I don't know, man. Like, Jimmy Butler in New Orleans would make that very interesting because he had a different dynamic, something they don't currently have. And I'm excited to see what Ja's going to do in Memphis. He's definitely, young point guard's going to make a lot of mistakes, but I think you live with that because, you want to see him come out on the other side. So I'd rather see him be handed the keys versus them easing him in. So them trading Mike Conley, I think that's great for Ja because he'll just get to come in and run the show.
It's great for Ja, but do you think that was good for the Grizzlies?
Ultimately,
no,
I do.
Stop for a minute.
Yeah,
they're gonna be. He's 19. So he's 3-4 years away from being like
even in his prime,
beginning of his prime, right? So they're gonna, as long as they're patient and they don't panic like the Lakers and trade him, I think that.
You saying the Lakers panic with Lonzo?
The Lakers didn't panic with D'Angelo
we
or
talked
Lonzo.
about this.
They
talked about this last week. They panicked in the trade, and gave away the youth. They just gave away the youth.
Let me say this.
Sorry, youth.
Let me say this. They
Lonzo's
mortgaged the house for some shit they could have got next week for free.
Tell them. I'm saying.
You thought? Okay.
I don't know that I agree with that.
I don't. I definitely don't. Because when you start projecting like that and saying, "Well, we know this gonna happen," you start predicting the future. That's when you lose out on Paul George.
Or at least wait until the trade deadline. I thought they could have waited till the trade deadline.
Maybe not. But you're trying to get the greatest value for me when I'm doing business, and I'm trying to understand that my resources are limited. So I'm not just giving away and wasting resources if I don't have to. And in this case, if I'm the GM and I'm like, so before we call New Orleans back, as a team, do we think we have to give away this dude? No. Then we rather keep him. Let's work in a way that fuck that.
But that's what you weren't in those conversations. None of us were. What I do know is that if I'm playing spades, I'd rather have a big joker than the 10 of spades, the 8 of spades, and the 4 of spades. Give me that big joker. At least I know I got something, not a bunch of maybes.
At least give Brandon Ingram the jack.
Brandon, you mean tell me a dude who got blood clots in his arm who scored 16 points a game, that's what you banking this value on?
I think Brandon Ingram is going to be a very good player. When you make that assessment on the talent, recognizing that this is what our strategy is as of now, we are developing young talent. Well, if that's the case, why not? They are developing. Like,
not
are
anymore. They tried that.
Not anymore.
They tried that. They're not in the developing business
Yeah,
anymore. Is
but
what I'm saying.
At this point, the Lakers is just playing superstar led. Like they are superstar led, and so
they always have been.
Yeah, but I also feel like they because of the way they missed the last couple of years, this was just them saying, "Ha, we got one." Right. And so they did what they could. They didn't give up everything that they initially offered. Right. So they still did save a little bit.
And with what they have left, you can go sign guys that are equal to Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball and Josh, whatever his name is, Josh Hart. You can sign guys.
Where are they at?
Everywhere in the league.
Everywhere.
I don't see 21-year-olds.
I ain't talking about you. You so focused on the youth.
That's what I'm looking. No. Is that because when
it's
I'm
not
looking
that?
at
Not obviously not. They gave up on the youth.
My opinion, which is when I'm assessing Brandon Ingram, not just of who he is right now, but who I project him to be.
But
and when I'm
projecting
at this
Anthony
say,
Davis what he is right now
for another 7 years, why would you throw that away?
But you didn't throw it away. You got a dude who's already in his prime who can give you another 7 to 10 years.
Yeah, and you got a dominant
and you don't have
Laker
to, you don't
center.
and you don't have to project that. And you still have Kuzma. Kuzma's a better player than Ingram at this point.
Kuzma's a better player than everybody they traded.
Right.
I agree with you. I'm glad we kept Kuzma.
So what did you give up? Is what I'm asking you.
For the same reason I'm glad we kept Kuzma, I wish we had kept Ingram for the same reason.
And how did that work for you the last 2 years?
Last year he was hurt.
Last year everybody was hurt.
But availability is part of your skill set.
Injured. I don't think you could look at last year as a failure. They were hurt last year. You can't look at their development and be like, "Oh, see what they did? They was hurt."
Okay, so the year before that, he just sucked.
That was the second year in the league.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. Is every year is going to be something different. Last year, when we had this conversation, you said, "Man, I'm banking on these young dudes to develop." Now they get hurt, they don't develop, and then next year is going to be something different. What I do know is that Anthony Davis is one of the best players in the league. That's not debatable. You don't have to project that. You don't have to hope that happens. And that's a guarantee that you have in every stadium every night. You know what Anthony Davis is going to give you. You don't know.
Of Davis.
There's no value in.
I admit he's a great player, someone you want on your team. What I'm arguing is that in terms of decisions, when I look at that franchise, in my opinion, you did not have to give that up. And I'm not saying don't get him. I'm saying continue to push in a way that you don't give this player up. Why did you have to do the trade now? You could have continued to wait and hold off so that you don't have to give up that dude.
Because
that's all I'm saying. Y'all panicked. Y'all
they
shot
didn't
too
panic.
Early.
They gave up on a dude who they knew was dispensable. That's not panicking. They saw a dude who they don't see the value in. You do.
Disagreed. So if you want us, I say they panic because they assess this dude as dispensable too early.
How is it too early?
I don't think
they've seen him for 3 years.
When I'm and again, he's trending up and was hurt last year. I still look at that player based on what I've seen, and apparently they thought so. But to me, what I saw, where he's trending, you don't have to give him up, so don't.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you don't have to give up. If you view him this highly, but you're trying to get the best player in the league, you don't think you're going to have to give up somebody pretty decent?
Not in this situation to where this player has said, I'm only going to these two teams long term.
But
one of them said,
but Paul George said the same thing.
I'm responding in that particular situation. When I looked at this, if I'm looking at it, I'm like, yo, really? We operated in good faith 6 months ago, or whenever that was. You didn't want to fuck with me. Now we're down to a point where you feel like you got to step to me because 2 months ago, the word on the street was y'all would never give Anthony Davis to the Lakers. Now y'all coming back to us. Now I see that I have the leverage. So therefore, if I was making the deal, that's all I'm saying. If I was making a deal, I would have held my cards and said, nah, I ain't fucking with you, and I'm not giving this player up.
Okay, if you was making the deal, you would have held somebody over the balcony.
And then you wouldn't have Anthony Davis, and you'd be stuck with Brandon Ingram, the dude that you don't believe it.
Maybe not this week, but I would bet on he would be in my franchise in 2 months, 6 months, a year.
What you're missing, Al, is that the Pelicans didn't want to go into the season with Anthony Davis hanging over this franchise. They didn't want that situation hanging over the franchise, especially with Zion coming in. So if you try to hold your cards and wait till the trade deadline and try to be cute, you're going to miss out. And you're going to be stuck with the same dudes who was hurt last year and got you a 9th seed. Or you're going to be stuck with egg on your face.
Or when the season comes to, because I agree with you, they don't want to go into the season with him on my squad. Mm-hmm. So as the season comes up, they're like, yo, who we got to do something. What's the best deal on the table? Oh, the Knicks never offered nothing. The Celtics, they ain't offering enough because they know he's not signing with them long term. Well, you know what? We got to take the best deal on the table, and the Lakers still not giving up Ingram. Fuck it, run it. Take whoever they giving because it's still the best deal on the table.
But for one that doesn't, but you can't pick and choose when you want to project. So if I want to play the projection game, I could say at that point, I'm sure another team would come in and say, oh, we can get Anthony Davis on the cheap. Let's put our offer in. And then at that point, I'm sure the Pelicans ain't going to say, man, Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart looking pretty good right now. Fuck no, you got to give up something to get Anthony Davis.
Him next year when he says.
But they are trying to win now. This ain't. I'm walking in reality. I'm not walking in what Jay and Alvin want to see.
He went somewhere and stayed and decided not to take the bigger franchise. I get it. I understand recent history was like, don't do it. I would still believe that, really? Nah. Anthony Davis is coming to play with LeBron next season. He wants to play with LeBron. His agent and LeBron, they the same. You know what? Nah. Yeah. He's coming to us. We ain't giving this dude up. He's coming to us.
That's the same thing. That's the same thing you thought about Paul George. And even with that, you're giving up another entire season of LeBron's 2-3 years left he has in his prime.
But you know what? He was looking really good. He was selling a lot of jerseys. I'm all right. I'm all right. Like we was playing well with him when everybody was healthy. I liked what I saw. We're gonna get a number 4 pick. We're gonna get another good player. Let's keep going forward and hope and pray that what we're hearing from LeBron's agent that he wants to come to us, that we'll see him in a year.
Yeah, but you hoping and praying. But I know I got him now.
Yep. That is a lot of hoping and praying.
Like, what is hoping and praying is what got you into this mess?
I don't think so.
Yes.
What mess? That we didn't get Paul George?
No, that's one. Like, the mess that you didn't get Paul George. I'm answering your question. The mess that you didn't get Paul George. The mess that you thought these young dudes would develop. The mess that you thought Lonzo Ball was going to be hanging the next great point guard, hanging jerseys in the rafters. This is all stuff that was said about a Lakers organization. This is the whole mess that got you here because you overvalued this youth that you was hoping and praying would develop. And for some reason or another, whether that was disappointing play, whether that was injuries, it happened that they didn't develop. That's the mess I'm talking about. And you got the best player in the world you can't even get to the playoffs with.
My response is that I would not refer what's going on in my franchise as a mess. And that while
I'm a Lakers fan too, man.
Hold on, wait. I just let you go for a little monologue. Let me respond.
I'm just saying I'm a Lakers fan for life too.
So I would say, I wouldn't refer to it as a mess. We didn't get Paul George, and you know what? That's okay. He's where he's at. I would like him on my team, but he's where he at. Good luck with him. I would have liked him, but we are looking at our youth in a way that they are in their second and third year of development. We have sold to our franchise. Really trust the process. You see what's going on in other franchises where they got young talent and they're improving. That's what we are doing, drafting these young talented players. And last year, they were looking really good when they was healthy and they were developing some cohesion with our aging superstar who's playing really, really well with some of our aging veterans. We like what we got going on. Then all of these injuries happen. And it's like, you know what? I can't assess this year anymore. But I like what I saw when they was healthy. So you know what? I'm not forgetting what I saw just because they got hurt.
Okay, so but this is the second. Again. But this is the second year in a row Lonzo Ball got hurt.
I'm saying so did Curry got hurt his first 2 years. Like you said, Davis got hurt and he got over it. So again, getting hurt young, that happens, and people still can develop into really, really good players.
Right, but that's not apples to apples because Curry didn't have a LeBron on his team. Right?
What does that mean?
Because the Warriors had no expectations of winning a championship. They could afford to let a Curry develop. And
we didn't have an expectation of winning a championship last year.
But they had an expectation of at least making the playoffs. When you have a LeBron on your team, but listen, when you're evaluating players, Al, injury is a part of that evaluation. I'm sorry if you don't want to admit that, it is. Injury is a part of that evaluation. So when you're evaluating players, be it for NBA, NFL draft, whatever it is, injury plays a part in that evaluation. And if I have a guy who, right, and also another cliche is potential is what gets coaches fired. And we've seen it in LA. Potential fucks franchises because you're so banking on this potential that may pan out, it may not. What I do know is you got the best player that you like next to LeBron and KD suited up for next year, guaranteed. That's a guarantee. You can have all the maybes and the hopes and the prayers. That don't get you shit other than being down by 25 and Zion getting you a monstrous dunk, and now you're down by 23.
And Andrew Wiggins getting paid way too much.
Right. That's what potential gets you.
We disagree in strategy, right? So you see how general managers play this out in drafts. Different franchises play it differently. And all I'm saying, me as a general manager, here's why I would have not done that, because as I assess this situation, not of this situation, I'm like, yo, worst case scenario as far as I'm concerned is, all right, we don't sign this player, but we are continuing to develop talented players who we believe are talented players. That's our worst case scenario with LeBron James. And maybe we can sign a player, maybe not, but either way, worst case scenario. So I'm playing it with I have leverage. And when I know I have leverage, I'm using it. And I'm not taking advantage of it. I'm going to use that leverage.
That's abusing that leverage. When you want to give up Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart for Anthony Davis, that's abusing it.
Call it what it was.
And then you end up with nothing. But
maybe not. I don't think so, though.
I'll just say this.
And the reason I would go to my owner, and this is what she might be like, nah, stupid, take the trade. And that's
damn
cool.
Right she would, because that's what she did.
As I look at this situation, I'm like, nah, trust me on this. And I know other people might jump, but just how as some people look at stocks and they're like, buy now. And then you buy and you get it, and then somebody might wait a week and they might make an extra $50,000 or they might lose a $50,000. I get that. But I would go in there and advocate on this is why we're going to make some money here. Don't do the deal now. Hold off. We will get him in a week or two without giving up that player. And that's all is what I would advocate for. And that's why I still believe they gave up too much.
But that's what I'm saying is because apparently from your view, you view Brandon Ingram in a higher regard than they did. And so I'm just viewing it from what obviously because if they viewed him, if they no, you cut me off, you gonna tell me to wait. What I'm saying is if Brandon Ingram was viewed in that high of a regard by the Lakers, he would have been Kyle Kuzma. He would have been the player that they said, no, we're not giving him up. Obviously, they didn't see him in that light. So I don't get the whole value behind Brandon Ingram. Do I like Brandon Ingram? Of course I do. But I don't see him as this building block that is worth like abusing my leverage and not getting one of the best players currently in the league still in his prime. I don't see him that way. And apparently they didn't either. And like you can name the Warriors as one team that built from the draft and won a championship. I can't think of another. The only other teams I think of that went on that trust the process mantra and that whole
San Antonio Spurs,
Detroit Pistons. No, they got some free agents,
right? And and even San Antonio had to bring in some other, some outsiders.
I'm just talking about their superstars were drafted and
even if I give you that, but I'm for one, I give you that, so that can be two. But I'm talking about in recent years, and I'm talking about in the 2000s. San Antonio was in the 90s, and I'm talking about I say that because I'm looking at free agency in its current state. right? So I'm not going back too far. I'm looking at free agency in its current state.
Before you change the subject, can I go back to the Brandon Ingram thing for a second? Before you move on to free agency, let me just say this.
We can keep talking about Brandon Ingram.
No, because I want to just respond to your inference based on the fact that he was included in the trade, that they must not look at him as a building block. Because I think what you can infer, I think it's fair to infer that the fact that they gave him up, they value Kuzma more than Ingram. That I think is appropriate. I think to know where you're jumping to, no, they could have the same attitude that someone else has mentioned in this podcast, which is if you're going to get Anthony Davis, you got to give up a building block. So I
didn't say a building block. I said something better than no. I didn't say no. I didn't say building block. I said no.
Listen, yes, you said the fact that they included him in the trade. They
just because you talk louder than me don't mean that you're right. But go ahead.
But just remember when you listen to it to the show tomorrow that Alvin is right.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
And okay, so again, I'll repeat to you what I said. What I said is we're basing this off of what you value Brandon Ingram as. You have to give up something to get Anthony Davis. If you're valuing Brandon Ingram that high, why does it not make sense to you to get the best player in the league? That's what I said.
Okay, so my answer to your question is because you do in normal circumstances. But in this situation, a particular situation, why I would go in and be like, no. Normally we have to, because you know why we believe we have to? Because we offered that to y'all 3 or 4 months ago. So we understand what his value is, except this is 3 months later.
And his value
is not that. You're not getting that from us. You're not getting him from us because we don't have to give it to you. Yeah. Like, you know, it's just like, why I'm not tipping you Brandon Ingram.
So are you saying are you saying his value's higher than it was at the beginning, in the middle when they try to trade him?
Now, just how when you hear people say, "Yo, I wish you wouldn't tell everybody you want to be traded," because now that you tell everybody you traded, your value is less because people know you want to get off our team, so they don't have to give as much. All I'm saying is the circumstances are different. Therefore, what he should cost to us, as far as I'm concerned, is cheaper than what you were quoted. And I know apparently we got him for a little less because we didn't have to include Kuzma. I'm just saying I would have went
a lot less.
So
okay.
Sure.
Man,
I don't care. And you're right, West Coast Jay. I am the dude hanging you off the ledge. Like, yo, run him. You gonna give up Anthony Davis today. I know you're being robbed, but you know what? Guess what? You played me 3 months ago.
Okay, but
so
I don't think that. First of all, I don't think New Orleans played the Lakers. Everybody just assumed that it was going to be so easy to get Anthony Davis, and the Pelicans said no. They have every right to say no in a trade. How is that play in the Lakers? Secondly, is if again, you can't go into free agency and sign anybody equal to Anthony Davis at this point. It's not going to happen. You can find Alonzo Ball at the Y. You can find Josh Hart at Planet Fitness. It's a bunch of them dudes in the league, man. Like,
you sound like you're selling him like you're the Pelicans, what you would be saying to the Lakers. Like, this is why you need to give up Ingram. And I'm just saying, as a Laker fan, I wouldn't see it that way. As a Laker GM, I wouldn't see it that way.
But yeah, because you're a Laker fan, of course you don't see it that way. But I'm just saying, like, in any regard, if I'm evaluating talent and I got a chance to get the best dude, especially in the NBA, the NBA is just not, and that's the point I was making. The NBA historically is not a league where you build champions. And I'm saying historically in recent history, based off the current stature of free agency, it's impossibly hard to build talent through the draft and stockpile draft picks and win a championship. It rarely works. Superstars run this league, and if you got a chance to get one and figure the rest of that shit out. You can sign an equal to Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram. Those dudes, shit, convince Chris Middleton to come and you got to upgrade. Like, it's a bunch of those dudes in the league. you ain't gonna find Anthony Davis through free agency. Teams don't usually let those dudes go.
Like, we'll see, and I think the how these players project out, will add evidence if they to their value one way or the other. But I think where me and you disagree is really at the idea of that this is a peculiar situation. And because a lot of stuff, what you're talking in terms of the value of Anthony Davis and the need to get him now, I, in theory, agree with. But all I'm saying is sometimes there are exceptions. So in this particular case, I would have said, nah, not here. Not here. We can screw him on this one. Give it to him. We don't have to bench it.
I just know we said the same thing about the Lakers and the Celtics and who else the Sixers last year. And what did they do? Because they failed to get a difference maker, hoping that these young guys would blossom and carry them, and they all regressed or they all stood pat. Like, you can't bank on that shit is all I'm saying. You can bank on. Fair to say.
Like, who got a difference maker in free agency besides Toronto?
And they won the championship. It's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that's a bad example.
If the measuring stick is so, if the Lakers do not win a championship, is this a bad deal? Will you look at it as a bad deal if they don't win a championship in the next 2 years?
Absolutely, I would.
In 2 years, yes.
Yeah, damn right I would. You got the two best players in the league.
It's gonna be seen as a bad deal.
Right.
It's gonna be seen as a bad deal if you don't do it in the next 2 years. Kawhi
absolutely.
was instant gratification. Kevin Durant was instant gratification.
Yes. Like, that's
Anthony
the whole
Davis
point.
needs to be instant gratification.
Exactly. So yes, it would be a failure.
I'm not sure he is that though.
I don't see that. So, like, to me, be prepared for this to be a bad deal.
Okay.
I don't see them winning.
It's possible.
And if that's the case, like, the chances are it's going to be a bad deal.
Okay, I'm willing to take that, but chances are I was never going to win a championship with those young dudes you're talking about. I'm taking my chances with the best player in the league. That,
and all I'm saying is I wouldn't see it as a bad deal. It's really my point. Like, that's not I'm not judging it as a bad deal based on whether or not we won. Like, I was surprised when y'all said yes.
I would. Shit. When you give up, when you break up a team to get one player, like, you're hoping that he's the difference maker. That's why I'm saying it will be a bad deal if it doesn't produce, especially like when you already have LeBron there. Like, obviously that's the reason you're bringing him in. And then just for me, whenever I make a big deal, if I'm making a big deal in any team sport, as far as a trade or free agency signing goes, I'm looking at the ultimate goal in any team sport is to win a championship. And the fact that immediately they went to favorites across the board to win the title next year, I think it would be a bad deal if they don't win a title while LeBron is still there with Anthony Davis.
I guess I assess, I'm a fan, but I try, when I'm being serious about it, I try to set my expectations based on the talent. And I didn't think they had the talent last year. At this point, don't think they have the talent. And I know we have a long way to go.
They only got 4 players. Yeah.
Right. It's a long way to build a team. But I just don't see that as enough. And we'll see. But I just don't think Anthony Davis and LeBron is enough. And so I'm not expecting that from the Lakers. And I didn't. When he came to the Lakers, I wasn't like, oh yeah, we coming to get some championship. Like, that's not what I expected. I look at him retiring. Like, this is part of his on my way out.
You mean thing, LeBron?
Yeah, LeBron.
Yeah, but nobody was really expecting him to win a championship.
You are here to influence these young boys. Like, I was my future as a Laker fan was into the kids. I was okay with that idea that, and the same thing with the Knicks right now. I would love for them to sign one of the top one or two free agents. But if not, I like the talent we got. Let's see how we build these cats.
Yeah.
And even if we got a free agent, I wouldn't be like, oh, now that we got so-and-so, now we got to go all in. No. Play the long game. Play the long game. Like, develop these cats. Basketball is the game of, and I know NBA, you got to have superstars. I get that. But it also, you need cohesive people who play together, trust together, defend, shoot, all of that. Build that with your youth. They said, nah, fuck it, come away.
I just think what you're saying, I just think that shit worked great in the 80s. That shit don't work in today's NBA.
It did work in today's NBA, though.
With y'all keep going back to with who, Yosh?
Golden State.
That's what y'all go back to Golden State with everything. They're an anomaly.
No, I'm just saying they drafted.
But
they drafted everybody. Even
right.
Philly drafted everybody.
But has
the
Philly,
majority of the team
what has Philly won?
Philly
young.
They keep getting closer.
Young.
But okay, but they're not. Are they really getting closer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? No, they're
They
not.
absolutely are.
They're not getting
I
closer.
mean, I just feel like
they're
and with the exception, and I think Dallas with the trade of Kristaps, whatever he ends up being, I think Dallas is good. Denver has done it through the draft.
But I don't know. I'm
there's a lot of teams that are building.
I'm speaking championships. Y'all can speak
Well, if you're
on
talking
getting
championships, if you're talking championships, then Golden State is the most recent to have done it.
Okay, but they're the only one that has done it in the recent age of the NBA.
But that's all we have, Jay.
How are you going back and you say
NBA?
Because the league is because you go back to like free agency.
I mean,
has
if you
changed
go past
the game,
Golden State, then
the
you
game
have,
itself has changed. The draft is not. You can't go back and compare the draft when the draft was. When the draft was 10, 12 players deep, to now with a draft is a 3-player draft every year at most.
But Jay, you're saying, no, you're saying how far can we go back? We can go back. Okay, before Golden State, it was San Antonio.
It was the Spurs, bro.
And the Spurs drafted everybody.
But
everybody.
What I'm saying is, if you want to pick one team per decade and say, hey, that's how you do it, and then you think it's going to work for every team that you throwing out.
Did it this decade.
I'm not saying that, but you're saying, but Jay,
Spurs
what you said is,
done it this
you're
decade.
saying, but Jay, the
They
point
did
you
it
just
last
said
decade.
That's
Jay,
what
the
I'm saying.
point you
One
just said
decade.
was the most recent.
Okay,
Well,
and
there's a lot of young teams that made it far in the playoffs that are young teams full of players that were drafted to that team.
Right. And so and then everybody projects that they're gonna be the next Warriors. Y'all saying the same thing about Boston last year.
I didn't say they were gonna be the next Warriors.
I'm talking about Al.
You asked the question.
I don't know if they're gonna be the next Warriors. All I know is that's a strategy that works.
It doesn't work. What also works is going to get the best player in the league and winning the championship. Golden State's done that too.
I hear you. The Warriors did it for the last 5 years. The team before that was the Spurs.
Okay, and the Warriors,
and they had all of the people they drafted and the Kawhi who they drafted. They are the ones. That answers your question. They are the ones that did it.
Okay, and
in this decade.
So one team, y'all saying you can just throw that same model out there and it works for everybody. If it was that easy, everybody would do it.
It doesn't work for everybody. Nobody's saying it works for everybody. We're just saying it works. So just like some teams,
and that's what I'm saying.
Run the West Coast offense. If it's a strategy that works for you, that was our strategy and it was working.
And what I'm saying is that for every Spurs, even if you want to throw the Warriors in there, even though they don't count in whatever you're saying right now, because they wouldn't added KD. They didn't win all those championships without the best player in the league. So you can't even count the Warriors in that.
The league to a lot of talent.
Yeah, but they proved both of our points. Is what I'm saying. So if you're gonna take the Warriors, I could take the Warriors in my point too. Is what I'm saying.
Right, but what your point is being made and predicated on is one superstar. So if that's the case, then we got to go back the last 9 finals because LeBron was the one superstar that went to each one up until this year.
No, LeBron was not the only superstar.
that went to every final up until this year for 8 years? Yes, he is.
Okay, and so what I'm saying is for every Warriors you want to throw at me, even though they don't count because they added KD, if you want to throw the Spurs in there, that's one team. I can name you 6, 8 teams that have added a free agent or added the best player in the league and won a championship.
In the last 10 years?
It was LeBron each time.
And KD. and Kevin Durant.
Okay, so you're naming 2 players. You're naming 2 players.
And that's more than you can give me?
So we're talking about LeBron and KD, and all of the rest of them were teams that drafted their teams.
We just gonna forget Kawhi just won a championship.
He did when
exactly.
LeBron, KD, Kawhi, but
that's
the team
3
that
off
he
the
won
top
with
of my
before
head.
that
but I don't
was a team that drafted him.
But Kawhi didn't go in free agency. He went via trade.
I'm saying so did Anthony Davis. I'm saying however you acquire that best player in the league, those top elite players in the league, however you acquire them, trade, free agency, however, adding those players in the NBA, and it has shown to work more consistently than building through the draft. In the NBA.
I see where you're coming from. Fair enough. That makes sense.
I don't agree. But
I ain't asking you to agree. I'm saying you the one always saying numbers don't lie. Look at the numbers. Yeah, if you giving me out the last 20 years, the Spurs and the Warriors, and I can name off the top of my head LeBron, Kawhi, KD.
But okay,
that's just off the top of my head.
In that time frame, you talking about LeBron? What once?
No, LeBron went to Cleveland. LeBron was originally in Cleveland.
Took
them
Miami
and back to Cleveland. Took them all to the finals.
Okay, so he had 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so he got 3 in the depleted East.
Yeah.
So now you want to put the parameters on the shit. He did.
Ain't no parameters. I'm telling you what it is.
The only one that
everybody makes the same point. The East was depleted.
But did he do it or did he not?
But he also was the only one that went for 8 straight years. He's the only one that's ever done that. So LeBron is the beginning of this argument.
Okay. All right.
Like even if you count him once, you count Kawhi once, you count KD once. That's 3. Y'all only gave me 2, and y'all went back 20 years.
Yeah. Like I guess you could count the Cavaliers when he went back because they drafted Kyrie.
Yeah, but they didn't draft Kevin Love.
Nope.
Kevin Love wasn't a part of that championship team.
Who?
Yeah, he was.
Yes, he was.
He was hurt.
Man, Kevin Love didn't contribute like
that. Good God. So you telling me Kevin Love didn't make the final stop on Steph when they won the championship in Game 7? He wasn't in Game 7. He wasn't a part of that team.
Oh, the second season. Okay.
When they won the championship.
They
won it once.
They won one with Kevin Love. Yes, they did.
But I don't think he was a difference maker.
No. I remember him. He played. I got
he balled because he got injured.
He was a difference maker, though.
He got injured that first playoffs. The first time they went of the 2 times, like he got injured, and then
the second time they got a mulligan when Draymond got suspended for game 4.
It was not the second time. They only won 1. What are you talking about? The second time? They only won.
I'm talking about
2 times they went. They went back to back.
When they won, it was because Draymond got suspended.
That was not why they won.
Okay. All right.
I believe it is too. I'm with Coach on that one, but I don't feel like listening to Jay argue with
because they were getting damn near pummeled.
Okay, and what we do know is they won. Like y'all keep throwing in these what's.
That's what we know.
Like,
we know that they won.
Right? So y'all keep trying to throw in all these other. Like what I'm saying is teams win with superstars.
I don't think anybody's arguing against that.
Right.
And I'm not trying to say.
And it has shown to be more effective than building through the draft. If y'all can only give me 2 teams in 20 years, I think that kind of proves my point.
And you named 3 in 20 years. So I mean, it's just like one more. So it's not
No, I went back to LeBron. I didn't even go back that far.
The difference when we're looking with the Lakers, my difference is those teams, there was some talent there with those superstars. Like they were part of talented teams.
Right, and you can go find
what
or
we
less.
have now with the Lakers is Anthony Davis and LeBron.
And you can go
And
sign,
Kuzma.
and you can go and Kuzma,
Ha,
and you can
I got
go
another
sign,
one for you.
and you can go
2011,
sign.
the Dallas Mavericks.
That was drafted. That's Nowitzki and them.
That was Dirk and them.
Nowitzki and them. Who else was on that team?
But he was their player though.
I'm asking who was on that team. Y'all can't just slip shit by me and say Dirk and them.
Yeah, I mean, it was Dirk and them.
Who else was on that team? They ain't
Sean
have no.
Marion.
I don't remember anybody. That's
Sean
kind of like
Marion,
who was on LeBron's team.
Sean Marion,
Kidd.
Jason Kidd. None of those were drafted by the Mavericks.
None of those were drafted by the Mavericks.
So
Jason
please,
Terry.
come again.
Okay.
Y'all try to out-talk me and make me wrong.
No.
That shit don't work. Yeah, you try to scream and say, I'm right. No, nigga, you wrong.
We're going to point out when you're wrong, that's all. And
I ain't
no matter
wrong,
how
though. I'm not wrong. You just screaming. You can talk louder than I can.
You're just going to be one of them motherfuckers who give your shit away. That's all I'm saying. Don't give it away, homeboy. That's why, chill. Hold on to your money. You can still get the best player in the league.
I got the most money, and I got the biggest, shiniest fucking dollar bill in the league. You the one giving your shit away. You giving away dollars. You trying to hold on to quarters and letting dollars pass you.
Yeah, but if it costs more than $1 to get into the store, a shiny dollar ain't enough.
So it neither
all I'm saying is the shiniest dollar ain't enough.
Neither is three broke ass quarters. So what's your point?
The best player in the league don't mean you gonna win.
It doesn't, but a bunch of dudes who can't play mean you definitely not gonna win.
This year,
especially if
but
they hurt.
I'm not expecting to win. You know what I mean? Like I get it, I hear you, and I'm saying, yo, we don't have to rush now because I don't have no expectations of us winning this year. So if we can continue on our path, knowing that this, not knowing, but believing that there's a high probability that this guy is coming to our team.
How is it a high probability? How do you know that?
I'm not doing it.
You don't know that. Like, you want to pick and choose when you want to project and when you want to like state fact.
Why?
Like, it's not if he's a factor or is not. You didn't have him. You already tried to get him. You didn't get him. And when you had the opportunity to get, that's a fantasy. Same. And again, Paul George should have taught you that. I don't not learn from my first mistake. After that first one, it's gonna be hard to fucking trick me again. And when I got the opportunity to get what I want, you ain't gonna trick me a second time.
I guess I also understand though, just because something happened here, that does not mean it's going to happen here. So while I'm going to allow the past to inform my choices, they're not going to determine my choices.
Right.
So when
and,
I look
and they were informed that we can go get this dude now.
I would say this is not the same situation here. And so therefore, while I understand it to be a consideration, it's not the same situation here. So we don't have to just say, well, if it happened to Paul George, it's going to happen. It's a different player.
Well, you best believe when Lonzo Ball hurt again and Brandon Ingram is averaging 16 points again, and they are 14th in the West, we having this conversation again. I'm gonna tell you like I told Pooh when Reggie Bush got drafted. I can't tell you I told you so right now. So I'm just gonna wait and say I told you so when it's apropos.
But I tell you this though, like you told me coming out the prison when he had gotten to that fight for 25 cents. I'm like, yo, why you get into a fight over 25 cents? He's like, principles, motherfucker, GP. Like, yo, this is how I operate. And whether you owe me $25 or 25 cents, you gonna catch these hands. I'm saying,
and that dumbass nigga in jail again.
This is how I do business. I do business, and I look at data. I make decisions. Bam. And in this case, it's not just this is a particular. As I looked at it, I'm like, this ain't the same situation, so I don't have to operate like that.
I don't know. It seems to me you're operating off emotion. That's what it seems to me. But I get it.
Emotion? What emotion?
You're a Lakers fan.
To me, it's pretty rational. It's not emotional.
It is.
I'm not listening.
It's definitely emotional.
All right. So
LeBron
while y'all arguing with each other, I did go back and do some research. So unfortunately, I think Jay might be right. So before if we go back to 2010, the Lakers beat the Celtics. The Lakers had Shaquille O'Neal, who was at that point the best person in the league. If we go back to 2009, the Celtics won, and that was the what you call it team,
the Big Three,
the Big Three team, or 2011 rather. That was the Big Three team because 2010 made the three-peat, and that was legitimately as a result of Shaquille O'Neal. So Jay may be on to something for the past 20, 30 years that free agency is the key and the best player in free agency wins. But I still don't see that building through the draft is incorrect because we still have to let them finish. Unfortunately, like the Sixers are still in a position to look okay next year, built through their draft. The Warriors are still the Warriors. Whoever they lose in free agency, they've lost. Plus, free agency don't start till Sunday.
And it's going to be off the chain. And can I just say to the original question of bad fit, can I just give who I think would be a bad fit for the Lakers and the Knicks? Just, two of my squads. I really think, as I mentioned, when the Knicks approach free agency, I hope they only spend the money if they get an opportunity to sign one of the top two free agents. Like, really, if it's not Kawhi Leonard, really, I don't really want to see anybody else with Durant getting hurt. So hopefully they don't overpay just because I don't think anybody else is really worth the max. Like where the Knicks are as a franchise. Like don't do it.
Do like the Hawks do and pay somebody max money just because you need a max player.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Pay
And with
Josh
the Lakers,
Smith max money and Joe Smith max money, Joe Johnson max money because you need a max player.
Don't do that. I hope the Lakers stay away from Kemba or Kyrie. Like, I hope they find a shooter, like a really good shooter, or split the money up. But I really think what Kyrie or Kemba would add to the Lakers, like then they'd really be broke. Like I think they need more talent around them. So
what do you think about them bringing D'Angelo back?
Yo, so he's different.
And he's less expensive.
A young difference maker, and he's a little less expensive. He's a young difference maker, and honestly, bringing some young talent like that onto the franchise would have me really looking way past the deal now. Like, oh, I can go forward. Like, that would help. But he might be too much though. But I like the fact that he's even a consideration, considering he was one of our draft picks. And the way things kind of ended when he left and what Magic said about him and shit like that. So it would be nice to see him come back.
So Al, let me ask all of y'all. Do y'all see this Magic era as a disappointment?
Yeah, no, like overall, like the fact that you brought LeBron and brought in assets that allowed us to get and set the table to get Anthony Davis. Like, it's hard to say you part of that and it was a failure. Like, 'cause that's considering where we were 3 years ago. Like, that's something to brag about. That here we are in terms of the two players that we have. I think that's pretty good, even despite what I've been saying. I like where we are in terms of those two players. Like, that says a lot, and he was part of that. But we didn't win. But I don't think that wasn't part of my expectation. So I would say it was a success.
Did he draft Ingram?
I don't think he was there for Ingram to be on.
Right. Okay.
He drafted Alonzo.
And Carl.
And Kuzma, yeah.
Hart.
And gave away D'Angelo.
Well, he didn't really give away D'Angelo. D'Angelo had to go.
But to get LeBron, though, like that was That was part of a cap. That was a salary cap.
Yeah, because they had to get rid of old boys.
That was a locker room violation.
But
I mean,
it was. But like when you look at that locker room,
I looked at my son. I told my son, I said, "Yo," and I didn't think LeBron. I never imagined LeBron. But what I told my son, I was like, "Yo, if you're talking about by trading D'Angelo, we're gonna have opportunity to get Paul George. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that."
Yeah,
and I know
he's
young. I liked it, but yo, if we gonna clear some cap space, and now we can go get a superstar, I was like, do it, run it. And we didn't get Paul George, but we ended up with having a cap space to get LeBron. So, hey.
And I ask because I mean it can be viewed as both ways. Bringing in LeBron is one of the biggest catches in free agency history. So.
Yep. And now bringing in Anthony
Davis. So, I think, and it can be viewed as a failure. It can be viewed as, I think the story's yet to be told. Unfortunately, Magic won't be, around to witness it, at least in that organization. But it could still turn out to be very good.
I mean, if you remember what the narrative was about free agents coming to the Lakers for a long time before LeBron came there. There was this word that, they're not going to get a major free agent. People don't just come to LA just for LA anymore.
Well, I think that was because nobody wanted to play with Kobe for a while.
I mean, who cares what they said? But that was the word of it.
While you guys were arguing, the Blazers are looking into trading for Kevin Love.
Of course.
Right.
Just while that was happening as well.
Wow. They need something because I like,
I like the Bazemore trade though.
Like the who?
The Bazemore trade. Yeah. Where they trade Evan Turner for Bazemore. Bazemore's a solid piece.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's solid. And Evan was. I think he'll do better in Atlanta as a veteran, teaching them how to play the right way type of guy.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, I like but so some teams that I liked what I saw in the draft. I like what Atlanta did.
Atlanta made moves.
Yeah.
The kid from Virginia is going to be a player and a good fit, as well as Cam Reddish out of Duke. I think potentially adding those two guys to your talent is really, really good. Shout out to the Knicks, RJ Barrett. I think he is, I think when you talk about how he played in Duke, I think he's a really good fit in terms of what we needed in terms of our talent with the Knicks. I like that. And I like what the Pelicans did as well. Of course you got Zion, but if this young raw kid, if he turns out to be somebody in 2 or 3 years, 4 years, to have him and Zion on your front court,
that's going to be something.
Combination right there.
Yeah.
So I love what Alvin Gentry said when he looked at all the players he got, the players and the picks and everything that came back after the draft. Alvin Gentry looked at it and said, "Well, that's a haul, folks."
Yeah.
And that's hilarious.
Yeah. They'll be interesting. And of course, it's the newness of it all will be intriguing.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by that team. I can't even lie. I may go to New Orleans just to go see a game.
All right. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Well, and to hang out with my cousins. What up with y'all?
Yeah, but if they can't get no shooters, then they in trouble in real basketball.
Honestly,
yes and no. I think they could go old school. I think that team could legitimately play old man booty ball if they had to.
New Orleans?
Yeah, I think they could. That, just because they have the wing defenders. I do like Lonzo on D, and I really like Drew on D. So I think that they have the wing defenders to force teams to miss threes, as it were, and then take it back to the other side and run enough of an offense to be able to actually play old man booty ball. You know, get Zion in the post, back him down, have him triple team, swing it out, and have somebody slash to the rim. Like, I think that could happen. So
my unpopular opinion. Another unpopular opinion. I can't talk. Another unpopular opinion I have is that I don't think Zion 10 years from now is going to be looked at as the best player in this draft.
Oh.
No, that's a bold prediction, not necessarily an unpopular opinion. That's just a bold prediction.
I'm looking at the second and third player.
I've been watching Zion play since middle school, and I've been looking at Zion play since middle school.
And honestly, I think he's phenomenal, and I haven't been watching him that long, but everything I've watched, I've been incredibly impressed. My opinion is just based on his size.
Shout out to my homeboy Paul. He made sure that I was looking at Zion 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think his height is going to be an issue.
His height?
His height.
I think.
Yeah, I think he's little.
Yeah, but I think
considering what he can do,
a lot of it has to do with whether he develops a jump shot or not. Consistent deep jump shot.
A consistent jump shot, I'll give you that.
But. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we've never seen anything like him. There's no direct comp for him. But I'll say this:
young LeBron was like him.
Yeah, but he wasn't like LeBron.
Who was?
Young LeBron. When you look at the two of them, if you go back to their high school days and look at the two of them playing in high school, they look the same.
Similar, but I'm saying skills that LeBron
bigger.
is. Yeah, he's bigger. He has a better post game than LeBron had. LeBron was taller. LeBron was faster. Yeah. So I mean, he'd probably be the closest comp, but I don't think he's a direct comp to LeBron. But it's just so difficult to say anybody in this draft is going to be better than Zion, especially when one of those two was his teammate last year and he wasn't better than Zion.
But he did have on the flyest pink suit I've ever seen.
He did. I just don't. I like Barrett, but I'm like, if this were 20 years ago, I'd be concerned about Zion's height, because then he'd have to be a position and stick to that position. Like, this is positionless NBA basketball. It's like.
But they said that about Charles Barkley.
Right, and that's what. Yeah, but he was more of an anomaly as well.
That's what I'm saying. I believe that Zion is in fact one of those anomalies. He's strange.
Yeah, and he just
unique. Yeah, and he is like the only thing that I hope he does not get injured. That's it.
Yeah, like injury to me would be the only thing other than not developing a jump shot. Yeah, but that injury could really derail him. I just don't like.
Oh, coincidentally, I feel the same way about John Morant, because his athleticism is what sets him apart.
Right.
So I feel like I love his passing eye, I truly do, but his athleticism, the fact that he will just punch on you for no reason.
Right. And
I like what both of them are added to this league.
I
think Zion and Ja, like the way they play, the excitement, it's nice to have that type of talent and coming into the league.
Agreed. And from an RJ perspective,
for that great draft.
Like from an RJ perspective, like with the top three, we got three dynamite players. Like I think RJ is going to be very, 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 very sound. Mm-hmm. You know, he may not make every highlight, but I feel like he's going to make all the effort plays. I feel like he's going to do all the things that are necessary.
Yeah, he could be Brandon Roy.
He could be Brandon Roy. He could be Rudy Gay. He could be all of the people. Again, the only thing I wish that this draft class, I hope that this draft class isn't plagued by injuries, and that's it.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it would be a shock to me if Zion's not the best player in this draft class 10 years from now. Just because.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Yeah, like. I ain't saying it can't happen, but it will be really surprising to me.
Like, I'm hoping the Warriors found a diamond, but I don't even know who he is exactly. So there's that. But I'm hoping they found a diamond. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I also hope that the Hawks and their bevy of picks, and I hope that the Pelicans are, again, they're so intriguing to me right now. Mostly because I enjoy their youth. They're going to be fun for me to play with in 2K. I always go back to 2K.
Right.
I'm going to play with the Pelicans next year without question.
Right.
I really like Atlanta, man. Like,
yeah, I like what the Hawks did, for real.
Somebody in Atlanta getting a chance to watch a few games, see what Trey is developing into. They already got a shooter, Collins. Then you add in, a nice defensive dude in Hunter, Cam Reddish. Like, they're just acquiring some young, exciting players that fit. And that's what is kind of cool to see. And you just hope 1, 2 of them turn out to be a superstar.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we hope.
Atlanta can't get nobody to come here.
No, that ain't happening. And I don't know why. I don't know. I can never figure that out, but I don't know. But anyway,
I think it's just the lack of a winning tradition. Would that be it? Like,
yeah, and it could be like Atlanta's one of those cities, probably one of the only cities in the NBA that players like to visit, but don't necessarily want to live. Like, everybody want to go today, but don't nobody want to, nobody seems to, want to stay and play for the Hawks.
Yeah. Like, you can tell they love New York, they love the Bay, they love LA. But
when you're looking at history, who would have been their greatest free agent signing, the best player they
John
ever
Concat.
signed? Wow.
No. I think it might have been. Was Paul Millsap drafted by the Hawks? Or?
Joe Johnson. No, I'm serious. Joe Johnson was a baller. He just wasn't.
I'm asking about Paul Millsap. I was saying about that.
Oh,
right,
yeah,
Jay, you're the draft nerd. Was Paul Millsap drafted by the Hawks?
No, Paul Millsap was. He wasn't drafted by the. He was drafted by the Jazz.
Right.
That's where I thought he started. Okay, then Paul Millsap is probably their best.
Yeah, but I don't know if he was a free agent or if he was traded for.
I think he might have been a trade too.
Yeah. Joe Johnson was a trade. Mookie Blaylock. No, Steve Smith was a free agent.
Steve Smith was a free agent.
Steve Smith was the free agent. He might be their best one. Yeah.
That was a long.
That was a long time ago. Right.
Well, on a slightly related side note, listening to the two of you guys argue about how you would negotiate is hilarious to me personally.
Yo, we could be good cop, bad cop, right?
Hilarious to me personally.
Look. You keep fucking with me. I'm going to bring Alvin in the room. That's all I'm saying.
That's all I'm saying. Don't make me go get Suge Al. That's all I'm saying.
Don't make me go get him. He's at the door. He wants to come in here.
Al,
he wants to come in the room.
First question Al asking is, what are my office hours? It's the first question Al asked. So what are my office hours?
What are my office hours? No.
Boy.
What are my office hours?
Well, we was going to talk some boxing, but we could talk about Manny Pacquiao and Amir Khan next week. That ain't really important. But Jay, you got some trivia for us?
I do. We done lost Yo.
Yeah, I think we up past Joe's bedtime.
But I do have some trivia for you, gentlemen. In this fine evening. Now the funny part is my unpopular music opinion is one of your categories. So we got hot rap songs. And the reason why I chose that as a category is because that's literally what the Billboard chart calls the rap charts now. The hip-hop charts are called hot rap songs. So that's on there for that. 90s cartoons is another one. And then this one is special for Al. We got Major League Baseball Hall of Famers.
Oh, shit.
All right. So those are your three categories. We've got the simple 10 through 50. There are a bevy of ways to get extra points in these. I will tell you that for certain.
Okay.
So as they come up, I'll just explain them. But there's a bevy of ways to get extra points.
Word. Okay.
I think Jay's a reigning champ for trivia. So, again, 5 questions, category, just 3 categories. What you got?
Give me 90s cartoons for 30.
90s cartoons for 30. All right. What are the names of the heroes created with Sugar, Spice, Everything Nice, and Chemical X?
Whoa. Powerpuff Girls.
That is correct. Now, for double points, but what are their names?
Oh, shit, man. Don't give me the line. Crazy Spice. I have no idea.
They are Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup.
Oh, wow. I never would have known. Fuck it up, Buttercup. All right.
So, for 30 points, Jay is now on the board. Got.
Let me do Major League Baseball for 30. Hall of Fame.
Baseball Hall of Famers. And you said for 30. Hold on, I gotta put y'all in this nice little scoring spreadsheet I got going on here so I don't have to think.
You so technical.
Right.
No. Well, what I do is I just type fast is all it is to it. All right.
Like me.
You said for the 30. And it was Major League Baseball Hall of Famers?
Yes,
for 30. Here we are. This Kansas City Royal was a first ballot Hall of Famer in 1999, grabbed 98.2% of the vote, and was the only player to win batting titles in 3 different decades.
Oh, that's George Brett.
That's George Brett for 30.
Yeah.
All right.
Pine tar guy.
He is also the person who coined the term Mendoza line for players that hit below 200.
Oh,
and
I did not know that.
He is the star of the Pine Tar incident.
Yes.
All right. That's 35. Where you at?
Let me take out Al's wheelhouse, man. Take Al out of his wheelhouse. Let me get Hall of Famers for 40.
Hall of Famers for 40. This Hall of Famer, Major League Baseball Hall of Famer, was drafted by the NFL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball teams. One of at least 5 men drafted in the 3 major sports leagues. He chose to be inducted with the Padres despite having his best years with the New York Yankees.
Dave Winfield.
That is Dave Winfield. Now, for double points, name another person who was drafted by the NFL, NBA, and Major League Baseball.
Ooh. Damn it, I know this.
Get your countdown going. Will you count?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
Damn it, I know
5,
this.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Brian Jordan. Shit, I don't know.
Brian Jordan is incorrect. I think there's a trophy named after one of them. Jim Thorpe is one of them.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Dave Logan, Noel Janke, and Mickey McCarty are the other 4 people that were drafted by all 3 of the majors.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So,
nice. Okay.
There's your 40 points. Al, what you got?
Shit, let me go baseball for 50.
Oh, for the 5-0? Is that what just happened?
Yes, sir.
All right. When most batters used a simple lead-weighted bat in the on-deck circle, this Hall of Famer took to warming up with a sledgehammer.
Jesus Christ.
He led the Pirates to the World Series titles in 1971 and 79, and he was the last Pirate inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1988.
That was Big Papa Stargell.
That was, in fact, Willie Stargell.
Mm-hmm.
No double points for that one. Sorry about that. Like I said, they're spread all over the place, but they're in here. They're in here. Don't worry. You'll find one.
Okay. Seems like they going all the J, but I ain't bringing that up.
Hey, look, if you don't like it, pick the one he picked.
Oh shit. Let me go. Cartoons for 40.
Cartoons for 40. Spoon is the battle cry of which superhero? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
the Tick.
5. The Tick is correct.
All right.
Now, for double points, which villain tried to carve their name in the moon?
The villain from Tick.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I don't know.
That villain's name was Chairface Chippendale. He only got through 3 letters, and so the word says cha written into the moon.
Yeah, no idea.
All right. Al, where you at?
Let me try hot rap songs for 30. What's a
Hot rap songs for 30. What was Jay-Z's first #1 hit single?
Wow.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Politics as usual. I have no idea.
That is incorrect. The actual answer to that is Empire State of Mind.
Wow.
Now, for double points, if you would have been able to give me the year that happened, I would have accepted 2009.
Wow.
Okay.
But yeah, it took till 2009 for him to get his first #1. Crazy, right?
Right.
All right. Jay, where you at?
Let me go cartoons for 50.
Cartoons for 50. Goliath was the leader of the gargoyles. But who were the other gargoyles of the Manhattan Clan? 10, 9, 8, 7,
Shit.
6, 5.
I have no idea.
4, 3, 2, and 1. Well, the gargoyles were Hudson, Brooklyn, Lexington, Broadway, and Bronx.
Oh, yeah, I could have told you that shit.
Okay.
So there goes that. All right.
Let me go back
where
to
you at?
baseball for 20. I need to build my confidence.
Where you say we're going?
Baseball for 20.
Baseball for 20. Houston's Killer Bees are their only 2 Hall of Famers and both played their entire careers for the Houston Astros. 10,
What's the question?
9.
Who they are?
Oh, yeah. Who are...
He's like, oh, yeah.
Who are these 2 dudes?
Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio.
That is correct. Those are Houston's Killer Bees.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Let's close out baseball for 10.
All righty. This Seattle Mariner set a then record with 99.3% of the vote in 2016.
Ken Griffey
10.
Jr.
That would be Ken Griffey Jr.
My favorite player.
Smoothest left-handed swing I have ever seen.
Right.
Like me some Jr.
All right.
So, yeah, now I'm like, shooting in the dark now. Let's go hot rap song for 40.
Hot rap songs for 40. Hot rap songs for 40 gives me... What was Kanye West's first #1 hit single with no featured guest artist?
Oh, wow.
10, 9.
Gold
8.
Digger.
With no feature.
Oh.
Ouch. Ouch. He counts.
Jesus Walks.
Damn.
You already answered.
Jesus Walks.
He did already answer. It
You
was
already
also
answered.
not Jesus Walks.
Oh.
So
No,
we
I
went
gave
over
an answer.
2. So the actual answer to that was Stronger in 2007.
Oh, wow.
Another one I would have accepted if you could give me the year for double points.
Wow.
All right.
All right.
But yep, it was the Daft Punk sample. Harder, better, faster,
Yeah.
stronger.
Wow.
All righty. Jay, where you at?
What's left?
Cartoons and hip hop stuff.
I mean, what's the what we got? Cartoons for 20 is the highest one left?
Yeah, 10, 20.
Let me get cartoons for 20.
Cartoons for 20. What is Doug's last name? 10, 9, 8, 7,
Funny.
6. Doug's last name is Funny. Now for
Yeah.
double points, what's his dog's name?
Oh, what the fuck was this dog?
10, 8, 7, 6, 5,
Dog's name.
4, 3, 2.
Shit.
1.
I don't know.
Doug's dog's name is Pork Chop.
Pork chop. Right. Yeah.
All right. Al, where you
I
at?
kept wanting to say Skeeter, but I knew it wasn't Skeeter.
It probably was a Skeeter. Now let me go. Hot rap song for 50.
Hot rap songs for 50. 2 artists have held all 3 of the top 3 spots on the Hot Rap Songs charts at the same time. At 2 separate times. Just to be
You
clear.
got to name them both.
Who are they?
Drake. Is that one?
That's one of them.
Oh shit. Okay. Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar is incorrect. The other one was 50 Cent. Now again, this would have been double points if you could
There
have
you
named
go. See,
all 6 songs. If you could have named all 6 songs, I would have accepted that as well, and it would have been awesome.
Listeners, I hope y'all understand how I always get the alleged extra points after I get one wrong.
So all 6 songs, 50 Cent in 2005. Candy Shop was number 1. Hate It or Love It was number 2. And How We Do was number 3.
Oh, wow.
Drake in 2011 gave us I'm On One, Headlines, and She Will. All right.
All right.
What's left?
Hold on. Let me give y'all a points total before I start acting foolish. Points total, we are looking at... I have lost the spreadsheet is what I'm looking at. I have lost it completely. Oh, there we are. All right. Jay with 140 and Al with 100 even. And the remaining questions are for 10, 20, and 10.
What's in 20? Hip hop?
Yeah.
Let me get that.
What is the first rap song to reach Billboard's pop number 1?
Whew.
Countdown?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
Run DMC Walk This
4,
Way?
3. Yeah, that is incorrect.
Wow, what was it?
It is Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla
shit.
Ice.
Ooh.
That is the first rap song to reach number 1 on the pop charts.
All right.
The damn thing.
All right, Al, where you at?
What's left?
10 90s cartoons and high rap songs.
So just 10 in either one of those.
10 in either one of those.
I'll do hot rap songs.
All right. Now, if I were you, I would do 90s cartoons I'm just saying. But if you want hot rap songs, I'll give them to you.
Dang.
I mean, you are trying to win at the end of the day.
You can't win.
Isn't it just 10 points? It's just
Like
10
I said,
points.
if I was you.
Okay,
He already
I'll take
choked.
90s cartoons. I'm just saying.
steering.
If the judge gonna let me switch.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And he's steering you in the right
Look,
direction.
I'm trying to look. He is down by what, 40? And so this 10-point question is big. Here we are.
Here we are.
What are the names of the
How
Warners?
big is it?
What are the names of the Warners in the hit show Animaniacs?
Are you serious?
I know this.
You don't even have to count down.
Okay.
I'm going with Tito, Jack, Marlon, Michael, and Randy.
Okay. All right. So this is why I said if I were you, I would take that, because this one was a big money bonus for an additional 50 points. Anywho, the names of the Warners, the Warner brothers, are Yakko and Wacko. Their sister's name is Dot.
Dot.
Now, for the big money bonus and for 50 additional points, if you could tell me Dot's whole name, you would have gotten 50 additional points. Any guesses? Either of you.
Oh, Dot. I can't. It was crazy. It's like Princess Banana. Something.
That's close already. Just in advance, that's close. Her name was Princess Angelina Contessa Luisa Francesca Banana Fana Bobesca the Third.
Yeah, right.
You know what?
And they called her Dot.
Worst part, I know that off the top of my head. That's the worst part of this whole thing. So, for hot rap songs for 10, Jay, you want to go ahead and close it out? Which rapper has the most #1 hits?
Eminem.
Like I literally said that according to Billboard, my unpopular opinion is that Drake is the greatest rapper of all time. People who pay attention to the show.
Yeah.
Literally gave you the answer to this.
Yeah.
It's all right. I would have guessed somebody else either. I wouldn't connect this.
I ain't connect that. And that was before a whole damn Lakers argument. I forgot about that shit.
That was before a whole damn Lakers argument. And if it was if it would have come down to it and you needed the double points, the answer is 20. He has 20 #1 hits.
Wow.
Wow.
All right, and that's trivia, which leaves Jay once again as our victorious captain.
All right. Well, Jay, you hosted, man. What you got for me for your parting shot, sir?
Parting shots is that I'm actually looking forward to free agency. The verbal pugilism that goes on between the two of you when discussing Lakers and their free agent and trade maneuvering might be one of my favorite things to listen to. Like, I promise you, I could just sit here, pour a beer, and get some popcorn. So, that's about all I've got for this week.
All right. Al, what you got for me?
Well, see, I'm actually in San Antonio at a conference, and the conference is dealing with literacy. And so one thing I wanted to just share with our listeners is that what they're saying now is that for kids who are not able to read, when they finish third grade, at the third grade level, so they're not reading well by the end of third grade, that the research shows that their outcomes tend to be a lot worse than a kid who can read at the end of third grade. So if you can't read by third grade, those kids are more likely to struggle in school, less likely to graduate from school, more likely to have behavioral challenges. Like, so it's just a list of things that they're, saying this can impact them. And the data they shared today is that in our country, 67% of third graders fall into that category.
Wow.
And in low-income communities, it's 80%.
Jeez.
So parents get involved, start reading early.
Damn right.
Reading is so important. And one of the keynote speakers today, he reminded us as a crowd of like when the slaves, like one of the things that they were not allowed to do was learn how to read, because they understood 200, 300 years ago how important that skill is in terms of participating and advocating, and just how it's critical in our society. And so the fact that so many of our kids can't read, like, I just wanted to just lift that up, and then also shout out all of the people in this country who either help people to read or just motivate kids in any way, shape, or form, even if it's just one kid, to like be educated and do well in school and stuff like that. For all the people in this country who spend just any time in their life doing that, just want to shout y'all out, because we got to do better as a country, and it is a crisis. And when we look at the outcomes that we see in our community based on these stats, this is an important part of it. And so just wanted to lift up literacy and how reading, we just got to get our kids and we got to get back to reading.
Reading is fundamental.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, definitely concur. I just want to give a shout out, man, to my oldest son, LaDanian, man. He came in on Father's Day, told me and his mom he wrote a song. So we thinking, okay, yeah, let me hear your song, kid. So we thinking it's gonna be kid good, like, pat you on the head, tell you it's good, and move on. But he blew my mind. He wrote a whole song, verses, hooks, bridges, harmonies, everything. And so he asked me could he record it. So I recorded it this weekend, and he stacked his harmonies and arranged the song and everything, and I was blown away. So shout out to that kid, man. He's the smartest kid I ever met. I'm so proud of him. So just wanted to give it a Danny a shout out, man. Love you, Cheese.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Shout out to Pool and Money. Yo, the real is at work. You know what I mean? And then, it wouldn't be right if I ain't mentioned it was 2 for Tuesdays. And then also, if you're not rocking with Defy Life, what is your life about?
Man, go ahead on, man. Go ahead on with that, Money. Go ahead.
All day.
All day. Yeah, no doubt, man. Shout out, Pooh. Shout out, Money. I'll miss y'all. Talk to y'all again next week. Yoshi, it was fun while it lasted, man. Thanks for joining us tonight. That's been it, man. It's been episode 113 of the Defy Life podcast. We'll talk to y'all next week. Until then, Defy Life.
Defy Life.
Defy Life and continue to read.
Damn right.
Knowing that when you spend your dollar out of the community in which you live, the community in which you spend your money becomes richer and richer. The community out of which you take your money becomes poorer and poorer.
In order for us to build, we have to make sure that we foster that entrepreneurial mindset in ourselves and even in our kids.
If Eventually, someone is going to call you to task about what have you grown. Eventually, you're going to be asked what business you own, how many people have you hired, how have you created systemic changes in the black economy, how's that helped the greater economy.